I'm not comfortable yet.
You don't look comfortable yet.
No. Chris!
Your mic is too low.
No, it's fine.
Heath.
Chris!
Heath.
I got my DNA test results back.
Oh, yeah? What were you testing?
My DNA.
Okay. For like ancestry?
Yeah.
And what were the results?
Turns out I'm 100% gamer. Yeah. No, I'm actually just like 85% British.
Oh, really?
Yeah, here they are. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is really disappointing for Bailey, who paid for the test.
What was she hoping for?
No, well, what everybody hopes for, like a little bit of the crazy stuff, you know, a little bit of African, a little bit of Puerto Rico, a little bit of, yeah.
Well, you have 2% the Balkans. But yeah, you've got all different flavors of British and adjacent territories like Wales and Ireland.
I'm really just a British person without the accent.
I guess so.
I'm a walking Stephen Merchant. You know who Stephen Merchant is?
I do not.
He plays Wheatley in Portal 2.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that guy.
Yeah. How are you? What's your DNA?
I think it's mostly German and Italian.
Yes. So is Bailey.
Okay.
Which is why I like both of you.
Right. Yes.
On ethnicity basis.
Which we know is very important for you.
Yikes.
Happy holidays, Heath. Did you enjoy your Christmas?
Oh, I got tons of stuff.
Sweet. I don't know anything about this except the extra monitors that are next to me.
I got a second monitor. Well, that TV is what just Seth brought back from college.
Okay.
I got a teleprompter right there.
Oh.
So that's going to make essay-style videos all the sweeter.
Sweet.
And I got a game like we mentioned.
Okay. Awesome. I got some new sneakers and a new headset, which I'm not currently wearing. That's why this looks the same.
Does it have a mic? Does it have a built-in mic?
Yeah, it does.
Nice.
It's awfully similar to the one I'm wearing.
Okay.
Except it's black instead of red. All right, that's enough festivities out of the way because we have so many games to talk about. On what show is this, Heath?
This show is called Mobius Tubes.
Episode 57, recorded on December 27th, 2020, the last couple days of the year.
Yeah, we'll squeeze it in.
All right, so I think you're going to be dictating how this show kicks off, Heath.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I played more Death Stranding.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you've seen the credits roll, but you went back for more.
I went back for more. Well, because there was Cyberpunk DLC.
Oh, a crossover.
Sorry, not DLC, just additions.
Okay.
With the release of Cyberpunk, which is a very techno-futuristic game,
Yes.
much like Death Stranding, they added a few deliveries that you could do to earn abilities from a mysterious Jay, who is Keanu Reeves' character in Cyberpunk.
Okay.
Johnny Samurai.
Silverhand.
Yeah. And these upgrades were substantial. They allowed you to hack certain enemy outposts and equipment. Some quality of life features. I could keep markers on my compass persistent, whereas the HUD usually fades away. That was great. And it was nice how they integrated it. Each upgrade costs a little bit of your power, so you still have to micromanage what you're using. I mean, I always carry an extra battery on the back of my bag, so
of course.
it's fine. A bit of trivia, a bit of holiday trivia for you, Chris.
I'm ready. Hit me.
What does Death Stranding and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2003 video game, have in common?
They were both written and directed by Hideo Kojima.
No, Hideo Kojima did not take a sabbatical from the Metal Gear franchise to work on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Dang, I thought for sure I had it.
They both have temporal cosmetics in the form of Santa hats.
Okay.
So only around this time of year do characters and NPCs don in-game Santa hats, which I've always loved as a nice touch. It's like the only time of year when they do it.
Okay.
And I was racking my brain to figure out other games that do this. I imagined like some of the Tony Hawk games. This is giving you time to think of some. You're surely aware of this.
Oh, yeah. Games will have holiday Easter eggs. I remember around Halloween, Superhot put in like a big pumpkin head mode where all enemies had giant large targets for their heads that looked like jack-o'-lanterns.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yes, so Death Stranding, it still scratches that itch for me that Civilization does
Oh?
of just being that comfort game
Ah.
that I can play with mastery and enjoy myself.
I had a quick question.
Oh, yeah.
The Cyberpunk crossover update, that's available for everyone free of charge, right?
Yeah, it's free.
You said these were some pretty helpful upgrades. Did you find yourself going, damn, I wish this had come out a little sooner to help my main playthrough of the game?
I sure would have used many of them throughout the 70 hours I put into the main game, but I did not feel robbed of those upgrades.
Okay.
The core game is still completable without them.
I see.
Yeah.
And hypothetically, if I boot up Death Stranding myself in January, are these things I could get early on in my playthrough that would be helpful?
I do think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think they will appear somewhat towards the late game, but yes.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So that was me double dipping as far as new games I've played. I beat Dishonored.
New old games you've played.
New to me.
Right. Okay. So you've played by Arcane Studios' 2012 release, Dishonored.
And you've played by Arcane Studios' 2012 release, Dishonored. Wait, what did I say?
Yeah, 2012's release.
It's not 2012, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, I was going to make a point about that.
So Heath has been playing this game, one of Chris's all-time faves, in accordance with last year's Game Awards prediction bet. And to make the occasion more fun, I happily dipped back in for a third playthrough of Dishonored to accompany Heath's review and impressions, so I'm fresh on the matter. So since this is your first time giving it the full playthrough, Heath, you should dictate how this conversation unfolds.
So, Corvo Attano.
Hey, you know his name.
Now I know his name. Gets blamed for the murder of the Empress by 3 dudes.
Yes.
And you escape prison to go kill those 3 dudes.
It is pretty much a revenge story.
No
yeah.
spoilers yet. I found it fun. A stealth game is only as good as its mobility options.
Okay.
Batman Arkham. I like to fly up to the gargoyles and get a big bat's eye view.
Sure.
Dishonored. I like to blink onto the balcony of a certain street and get a glimpse of all the guards.
Definitely.
So I can sneak up behind them and kill them.
Okay.
But as I enter the second mission, my chaos level is high. And I'm like, what's this? Is this just community cosmetics? Like more rats or maybe? No, there's like a considerable level of escalation when you kill wantonly.
Yeah, this game's implementation of morality is the chaos.
But how was I
system.
supposed to help Granny Rags without slitting the throats of those street thugs?
You can knock them unconscious.
Oh, but they're all bunched together, and I guess I could sleep dart too and then slip away. Yeah.
I mean, we don't need a nitty-gritty detail breakdown this one encounter. I choked one guy out without the other 2 being the wiser, disappeared onto a rooftop, sniped one with a sleep dart, which alerted the other one to something being up, and then he started patrolling, and then I snuck up behind him and took him out.
Right. And that is a good encapsulation of what this game is. It's exploring the city, finding points of interest, which will unfold toward the main story, and the way you go about it will affect the rest of it. I can tell you I got to the last mission, low chaos.
Oh, wow, you really turned it around.
I really turned it around with a little help of the Devourer perk
Okay.
that turns bodies to ash.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's only if they find the bodies that it's chaos, right?
Um,
If I evaporate every single enemy character, I imagine it'd be low still.
I was under the impression straight up killing people increases chaos, but maybe you're right. Maybe it's number of bodies found.
Because after I got betrayed,
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers. Inbound. For the second time, I started killing many, many guards.
Okay. You were on an anger streak.
I was, and I had more fun that way.
Sure. That's valid.
So this is a first-person stealth game.
Yeah.
The only other first-person stealth game I've played is none.
None.
Wait, no. I played less than an hour of Thief.
Okay. The 2014 rebooted Thief?
Yes.
Okay. The not very good Thief.
Not very good. Don't play it. And then I looked at Deus Ex Humankind Divided. Mankind Divided. And that has first-person stealth.
It does, definitely.
I don't like first-person stealth.
Oh, no? I mean, you definitely have less awareness of your surroundings unless
for that reason.
Unless you're constantly using, what's it called? Hidden eyes.
Who cares? Every few seconds, it's like, eyes.
The sound effect that plays when you activate your all-seeing vision.
Yeah, dark eye.
Dark vision is what it's called.
Yeah, because when you're in first person, maybe my sensitivity was just way too low, but I constantly had to crane my neck around, especially when I was like in the vent or under a desk. And the guard is like right next to me. I was just spending so much of my time looking. Whereas I feel like if it was in third person, the tension of peeking around a corner is that much more real. Because I can see my character's body obscured by that bookshelf.
I see.
Whereas in first person, granted, there is a lean ability that I never used outside of the prison.
It's worthwhile to use. When you're leaning, you can't be spotted, assuming your body's behind cover.
Okay. That was hard for me to judge.
Sure. Yeah, because just naturally, based on human experience, if your head is poking around a corner, you know you can be seen in real life, but not the case in the Dishonored world.
So, despite that fact, I had a lot of fun exercising the different choices. Despite poisoning the elixir batch in the very first level, I was Slackjaw's main guy for the rest of the game.
I didn't know.
Yeah. He then hired me the next level and was like, somebody poisoned the elixir batch. Anyway, if you could help me get the combination of this safe, I'll help you. And I was like, I kind of felt guilty from my
previous transgressions.
So I helped him, and he took care of the Pendleton twins for me. I never saw them.
Yeah. Very different than going into the Golden Cat and taking care of them yourself.
Yeah. What did you do, buddy?
All right, so this third playthrough of mine I'm playing the hardcore ghost clean hands playthrough, meaning you don't kill anyone, even targets. You have to find other means to deal with them. And you can't alert any guards to your presence, which means I am quick saving and quick loading frequently. And having a blast, because I dig that kind of thing. And the fact that I'm playing this game on an SSD this time, instead of an Xbox 360's hard drive, makes the loading literally take between 1 to 2 seconds, which that alone probably increases my enjoyment of the game like 15%. Just having near instantaneous retries. So that is crucial for a stealth game. So yeah, I'm playing as morally righteous as possible. If we were talking about Mission 3, I think, getting rid of the Pendleton twins at the bathhouse. I had infiltrated the bathhouse and was like creeping up on one of them. And then I realized, I don't remember exactly how I'm supposed to deal with them non-lethally. And only then did I realize I didn't even need to be in the bathhouse. I could just go talk to Slackjaw. So I kind of aborted my kill halfway through to do what you did and get the safe for Slackjaw so he could ship them off to the mines.
Yeah, there's a number of those safes that you could figure out the combination from by eavesdropping or documents. I like how your mission notes keep updating. It was helpful during the red, white, and black ladies party.
Oh, yeah.
The masquerade.
Arguably the best level of the game.
Oh, yeah?
Lady Boyle's last party. Tell me about your experience in that level.
Well, mine was white.
Okay.
But it varies from playthrough to playthrough, right?
It's randomized. That's right. You're off to kill the Lord Regent's mistress, who goes by Lady Boyle, but she has 2 sisters, all of which are addressed by Lady Boyle, and they're having a masquerade ball, and you're sent to their house to eliminate her, and you don't know which sister is the real target. And so it's a social deduction type of hiding in plain sight mission.
I did the non-lethal option for that one too. I gave her to the creepy guy.
Yes. How did you identify the right one?
The creepy guy told me.
Oh, he knew.
Right? Doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he gives you key information, definitely.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to go rooting through their bedrooms for clues then?
No. I got the mosquito a drink, and she gave me the names of the other ones.
Right.
And then I think the creepy guy was like, your target's name is
Blank, yeah.
Essam.
Okay.
Or whatever. So I did them, and I killed the wolf guy in a duel.
Right, out in the courtyard.
Yeah. Is there a non-lethal way to do that?
Not that I'm aware of.
'Cause as soon as I beat the game, I was curious to see whether or not he could come to my aid if I didn't if I just disarmed him.
Mm-hmm.
After all your buddies betray you.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, anyone you spared could come help you because the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
Mm.
Much in the way that, could you torture Sokolov? I just bought the king's drink.
I gave him the king's brandy as well.
But you can interrogate him, right?
With rats, I believe.
Yeah, I imagine that kills him.
I've never had the heart to go that route, so I can't say for sure.
He would be missing then from the second to last mission.
There's no way he dies. He's an important character.
Yeah, he was in my final cutscene, yeah.
He's in Dishonored too.
He's got dedicated, yeah. That's funny.
What did you think of the world and the setting and the whole aesthetic of Dishonored?
Very BioShock.
It is, yeah.
Apart from the twist.
Which you did not care for, it sounds like?
I liked the twist.
Oh, you liked the twist.
Yeah,
okay.
the twist bumped it up a few notches on the top 10 list.
Oh, good.
Yeah, for the spoilers. The setting being the Victorian, occultish with the outsider.
Yeah.
Dowd's guys, who you see a glimpse of in the second level.
Yeah, just a glimpse.
And they murder you. And it's like, whoa. Sorry, when I say murder, I mean just do lots of damage.
Sure.
Sorry, you asked me about the setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the setting is, I dig it.
Something about the world of Dishonored, especially the first game, Dunwall, it just resonates with me. I thought for a while Dishonored 2 was clearly my favorite of the two. But the first game, something about its world and characters just feels cozy to me, which is weird because it's a very depressing game. But I love the lore so much. I think the feeling of exploring Dunwall beats Karnaca, which is Dishonored 2 settings. So even though I think Dishonored 2 has maybe the better levels, Dishonored 1 just makes me happier to inhabit. And I thought it was so cool. For a 2012 game, running on modern computer hardware, I think it holds up pretty darn good in the visual department because they weren't going for realism. It might not be the highest res game.
Jackets are big.
Jackets are kind of bulky, yeah. But I think it still looks really good, especially lighting and environments. Even if character models aren't super modern looking, they weren't going for realism, and that helps give it legs.
They go for realism in Prey, don't they?
Prey is the more realistic game, but it's still somewhat stylized.
Yeah.
I want to know, Heath, what powers did you lean on the most? Were you heavily invested in certain supernatural abilities or some gear you used a lot? Tell me.
I nearly never touched the crossbow dart thing.
Okay.
I relied on Blink level 2. I got that before I killed the High Overseer.
That is helpful, yeah.
I knew that was going to be a priority. And then I only used the rat possession once.
Okay.
Thinking that I was doing something wrong, and that was a progression blocker.
Oh.
But it's not.
Yeah, possession is an optional ability. You don't need it.
I used Blink, I used detective mode, and I used the bodies killed turned to ash to
Okay.
save my butt. I didn't hide any bodies. No, that's not true. I definitely threw some over a ledge into the water.
So you didn't do any summoning rats. You didn't do any time freezing.
I bent time a little bit.
Okay.
It was definitely in the second half of the game. Of course, as soon as you beat the game, you scrub through the achievements and see, oh, I could have caused them to attempt suicide in a different pathway.
There are some really intriguing power combination things you can do.
Yeah, so I mostly admire the game for that.
Yeah, it's a very system-heavy game. You can do the really wacky things like slow time as guards are firing bullets at you. Meanwhile, you take possession of a guard, walk him in front of his own bullet, and have him shoot himself that way.
Whoa!
Now, that's super cool and all, but the mana cost that's associated with pulling all that off is kind of prohibitive, when instead you could just sneak up behind them and put a knife in his throat.
You played the very difficult difficulty. I imagine, well, you probably know the locations of all the elixirs.
Pretty much.
But are you... And and there's no way you're losing health. I was thinking, like, are you constantly eating tins of fish?
Right.
But
yeah,
no,
not really.
You wouldn't be spotted.
I'm not getting into combat.
Yeah.
Any cool bone charms you really liked?
Ooh. Very early on, I immediately bought the 6-slot bone charm thing.
Nice.
Many of them were like, your crossbow fires faster, your sword swings faster, drinking out of faucets will recover some mana.
Yeah.
They were interesting.
But not game-changing.
Did I miss a particular one that
No,
allows you to...
There are some that are really crucial in a total stealth playthrough, like you can choke people much faster.
Yeah. I benefited from that significantly. I plugged it in, I forgot about it.
Right. It becomes so essential. You take it for granted. And like one that makes your recharge window on recovering mana recover faster. So that's pretty helpful. But a lot of them are situational things like, oh, you shattering glass makes less noise for you. And like, that's handy, but I'm not always shattering glass.
Yeah.
Bone charms are more essential in Dishonored 2 than Dishonored 1 because they introduce bone charm crafting, so you can make like really powerful ones.
Oh.
I have one more, I guess, big picture question for you. How much of a kick did you get out of the level design and like finding routes to your target that might be less obvious than barging through the front door and searching for like extra crawl spaces and vents and things like that? Was that readily apparent for you, or did you more often than not just find a more direct route?
The former. I appreciated the intricacies of the level design.
Okay.
The golden cat. I entered through the rooftop entrance.
Yeah.
How do you earn that again?
You can just work your way up to the top and get in that way.
But who gives you that?
Oh, someone will unlock it for you?
Yeah.
It's probably Slackjaw.
Okay.
Because he gives you two
missions. And then once
missions.
you get in there, you visit the art dealer. And then, okay, got it. Okay. I liked that. The very last level, King Sparrow Island. The only reason I remember the name of it is because I was quick loading and quick saving, so
Okay.
I would always see it. I would always catch the last 3 words that. What's the name of the boat guy? Sam?
Samuel.
I always catch the last 3 words of his dialogue as I quick loaded, because my first attempt was the main gate entrance, and then I went to the beach valve entrance. I mean, I'm always walking on suspension cables for bridges.
Yes,
rather than the bridge itself.
The high ground is where you want to be in this game.
Right.
On my second playthrough of this game years ago, that's where maybe the first time I really paid attention to a game's level design and how I was discovering routes I never even knew about the first time I played through. That was a big moment for me. You mentioned King Sparrow Island, the last level, and how you noticed how that your high chaos versus low chaos is maybe mostly cosmetic most of the time. There are more weepers and more rats.
Okay.
But King Sparrow Island, and this wasn't apparent to me until I played it through the second time, is a totally different level depending on what your chaos level is.
Cool.
And the fates of the loyalists are different depending on whether you're high or low chaos.
Is Pendleton and Martin alive?
I'm blanking on the finer points, but the level is radically altered. They saved that for that was really a cool touch I love. So you got to see the low chaos, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but how does that play out exactly?
Well, Havelock is like, I'm not going to fight you, Corvo. Here's the key. It's a shame that we always come to this. So close to power, and it changes a man. Bioshock. Here's the key. And then I pick up the key, and he draws his sword. And then I have a slow-mo death sequence, and I got him.
Okay.
And then I rescue the princess.
Yeah, on high chaos, there's a lot more infighting amongst them. Some of the loyalists have killed each other.
Oh.
It is a darker ending. I think it ends with one of them dangling Emily off a cliff.
Ooh.
But you don't see that in the low chaos version.
Worth investigating.
Maybe. But any closing thoughts or anything you want to cover, Heath?
I killed my torturer. When you go to assassinate the Lord Regent.
Right, because he's off in his cell, beating up a hanging corpse.
Yeah, and you do a real remember me. Yeah. Okay, so I see why you dig this. I didn't get the Lord Regent in his bedroom. He retreated to his safe room.
Okay.
Man, that safe room, you have to go loud.
Okay,
despite my best efforts.
There's a tall boy in there.
Is there no way to beat tall boys stealthily?
That's a good question.
Can you hack them?
You definitely can't hack them.
I was thinking you could probably kill a tall boy with a really well-aimed shot to the whale tanks on their backs. But there's those blockers in front of them. I wasn't sure whether or not those blockers were physical blockers or just to signify that you can't hit them.
How realistic their hitboxes were.
Yeah. I think the tall boys are very cool designed.
They are. I don't know how practical that would be, but it's cool.
I love how analog the legs are.
It's basically policemen up on giant stilts holding a bow and arrow.
But it's very not scythe agricultural mech, but it's very puppetry mech.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a new hot take. Yeah, both Bioshock and Dishonored have really cool elite enemies. Tall boys, big daddies. So these sound like nuclear bomb names. Yeah, I'll have more to say about Dishonored later in the episode. I'll tell you that.
Did you we were talking about taking down the Lord Regent, which is the last level I played on my replay right now. So you killed the guy. You didn't find the alternate path there?
What, going to the broadcast station and
you figured that
and
out.
Playing his most embarrassing moments.
Yeah. Do you know what he confessed? What you play as confession over the air?
You rob it from his bedroom safe.
You do.
No, I didn't.
You thought he deserved death as justice.
Well, you have the option of, because when you enter the castle, he's having a Zoom call with a guard.
Right.
And he's like, I'll be in my bedchamber. And the guard is like, oh, you really should be locked up safe, your Regency. And he's like, nah, I need my sleep number bed. And you can walk up to that screen after that call and take off your mask, as I did.
Oh, you did the power move.
Yeah, I did. And
you let him know you were here.
He goes, Corvo, I should have known. You know, real nice early 2010s game design. Yeah, this game is you can have some fun with this game. I just wish it was more fun to control.
Oh, I find the accuracy of blinking around really quite precise.
If you're ever in the water.
Oh, yeah, I mean, water's not great in first person. You don't spend that much time in the water. Did you?
Maybe okay. Maybe I spent a little too much time in the water. On King Sparrow, right behind your spawn are these rocks with cables that run right to the tops of whatever outposts are outside the castle.
Okay.
I was so convinced that I bet I could walk along that cable and bypass all these watchtowers.
But that's not the case.
So I spent like a good amount of time. First person. Thank God there was no piranhas as there were in the earlier parts of the game. Man, trying to like. I spent so much time in the water on the bridge level. Just like maybe my sensitivity was just way too low. Because I would blink behind a guard that like spotted me for the level 1 electricity, and then I would try to whip around to kill him once I got behind him, and I just found the maneuvering in first person, maybe because I'm not used to it. And I was going to test whether or not this first person stealth is unique to Dishonored, and whether I like it in other games. So I installed, thanks to the Epic Games Store, Alien Isolation.
Okay, that's a first-person scary stealth game.
Yeah. So I was going to see for myself what this is going to be like. And be like, nope, it's genre-wide.
Okay.
Third-person stealth for me.
Gotcha.
Lord Regent. No, I didn't broadcast his embarrassing snapshot at the Christmas party.
Yeah, his snapshot was he was the one who brought the plague to Dunwall intentionally to cull the impoverished population.
Whoa.
Which was pretty damning.
That's like Thanos wouldn't do that.
And then it got out of hand, and you're left with the Weeper situation.
You do neutralize him that way.
And then you get a nice scene where the guards, the city watch, are like arresting him and said, "Your head will roll for this, Lord Regent."
Yeah.
And then you get out of town on Samuel's boat.
Cool. And then the city watch are like, "Are we meeting for cigars after this?"
Cigars and whiskey.
You can count on it. they said that so often.
That is a Dishonored meme. You're a part of the in crowd now.
Yay! Heath. Okay, what's a good thing to end on? I'm part of the Dishonored crowd. I will touch Dishonored 2.
Okay.
As another game I could figure out whether or not this first person stealth is right for me.
Gotcha. Well, I'm pretty pleased with your takeaways. It sounds good.
I'm going to beat The Witcher.
Uh-huh.
You want to look at my 2021 schedule?
Sure, let's take a peek.
I didn't show you this. Spoiler, listeners. 2021 is going to be a really solid year for Mobius Tubes.
Oh, yeah?
Because it's full of games that somebody listening cares about.
Ooh, this is a nice infographic you've made.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. You have 2021 planned out through November?
Well, it's, some months have gaps, but there's definitely... So it's going to start with, obviously, our fantasy draft, and I'm going to beat The Witcher 3. I'm not going to play Death Stranding until I do. So there was that. Next thing, in February... You're Chris, yeah, why don't you be the... Because maybe I won't get to all... Maybe this is too ambitious.
This is ambitious.
Yeah, so why don't you...
This looks stacked.
Why don't you just remark upon certain things while
All right. Looks like February will primarily be Heath returning to Breath of the Wild, which he touched before and liked a lot, but then lost access to his friend's copy. So that'll be exciting. March. Oh, yeah, Disco Elysium, the final cut. So Heath seems like we'll be returning to that as well. Revisiting some old games. April is going to be Mass Effect month.
Right, that's when
Whoa.
they're due. The remasters are due to come out.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
I
think it is supposed to be the first half of the year, though. May is Batman Arkham Encore. Not in Arkham Knight, I'm assuming, but maybe Arkham Asylum you're going to play?
I don't own Origins.
Okay.
I own all the rest. No, I think I will go back and play Arkham Knight and be like, I was right all along.
I don't need to hear that. Humankind as well, the clone of Civilization you plan to play in May.
May is like, I got done playing Mass Effect. Now let's play one of my games before I play some more Chris games.
June and July are stacked because June is Halo month. Wow. July is Supergiant month. Holy cow. So that's a lot of Chris bait right there. August is empty. September, you're going to try Dark Souls or Hollow Knight? Wow.
Or this is going to be whatever month Silk Song comes out.
Sure. Okay. October is BioShock Infinite and Myst of all things?
I'm trying to put Myst in there somewhere.
What's your interest in Myst about?
It came out on the VR.
Oh, interesting. And then November is 13 Sentinels.
Well,
I'll believe that when I see it.
Whenever it comes out to PC. Have any Vanilla Sky games come out to PC?
Vanillaware games?
What did I call it?
Vanilla Sky.
What is that? What's that? What is Vanilla Sky? Is that like a prostitute's name? No, that's a film. A Tom Cruise film.
Yeah, I don't think any Vanillaware games have come to the PC.
All right, so this will be
Axed.
replace this with like Persona 5 month.
All right. So I don't know if I trust this schedule, Heath, but I like what I see a lot.
The first thing is Witcher. So
Yeah.
don't you worry. Definitely in time for season 2
What's season 2?
of The Witcher.
Oh, the show. Gotcha. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I had a fun time reminiscing about Dishonored with you. I haven't really been playing anything else that merits discussing just yet. So we can take a break. And when we come back, we have news, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Then we'll take a break and talk about the news. See you then.
And we're back.
And we're back. Heath, what kind of hot news is on the presses today?
The first news is CD Projekt Red versus the world.
It kind of feels like that, doesn't it?
Did you ever watch one of them Star Wars?
One of them?
Any of the new ones? 7, 8, 9, and Solo, and Rogue One.
I saw 7 and 2/3 of Rogue One.
Okay. Did you ever watch the media coverage of those movies?
I've heard about it tangentially.
Okay, because there are definitely some influencers and tastemakers who either they're in the pocket of Disney or they would like to be.
I see.
So they only focused on the good parts of those movies. And if there were some criticisms or plot holes, that's just what the haters are saying.
You're saying they're just real sycophants is what they're trying to be.
Some bootlickers, that's
Yeah.
right. So I feel like a CD Projekt bootlicker.
Okay.
Just by proxy of you on this show, because I want to be on their good side. Even though, folks, CD Projekt is not doing so hot.
Public perception is in the gutter. However, financially, the game is sold really well.
Sure.
So, I don't know how well they're doing on spreadsheets, but people might not be. I mean, I'm sure people are aware. Maybe one of our listeners isn't aware. What's going on, Heath?
Oh.
What is this controversy?
Sony took it off of their store, their online store.
Sony delisted Cyberpunk 2077, the new release from CD Projekt Red, acclaimed Polish developer. They've delisted it, made it no longer available for purchase digitally. Why, Heath? Well, that seems like a bad move. Surely they're missing out on money.
Because the game is failing to meet certain quality requirements on the PS4 version.
Right. So this game is a buggy mess, and that's the case across all platforms, but on base PlayStation 4s and base Xbox Ones, it is borderline unplayable. Frame rates are in the mid-teens at times, depending on where you are in this open world sci-fi game. And just for context, you want a stable 30 frames per second at minimum for the game to be considered playable. So having them dip down into the teens consistently is egregious. Textures aren't loading in. It looks really bad. Game-breaking bugs aplenty. Animations aren't playing. NPCs are constantly T-posing. It is not good. And you were accusing me of maybe being a CD Projekt Red apologist. They should not have released this game.
Okay, all right.
Maybe they could have released the PC version, but on the consoles, I don't think you can, in good conscience, justify them being made available for sale in this state, no matter who you are.
And the history of this game's development does it no favors.
You're alluding to it, the amount of time it has been in development.
Imagine if a grocery store was like, we're coming out with this new vegetable. It'll be here soon. And then 6 years later, they're like, here's that new vegetable. And then in the opening days, they're like, we got to do a recall. It's full of E. coli.
Apparently, the game is great, assuming you can play it, which many people can't. It's funny, the first release date ever announced for this game ended up being a lie. They said it was coming when it's ready, and it didn't. It did not come when it was ready. They needed more months. And for context, I think this game was announced either late 2012 or early 2013. So yeah, that is the amount of time it has been percolating.
But it's fine. We will get to it when we get to it.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, this just makes me double and triple down on my mantra. Just wait for games before you play them.
Yeah.
Well, I think this game released messier than anyone had expected. I think some of the writing was on the wall. I mean, they delayed the game after it had gone gold. That almost never happens. That's not a good sign. They refused to release any footage of the game running on consoles before it was out in the wild. That is a scummy thing to do, but like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that means those versions, there's something materially wrong with them. This game turned out a hotter mess than anyone was expecting, but if you were expecting this to be polished on day one, you were either being willfully ignorant or pretty naive. That's my hot take.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, like, when I play this game in 7 or 8 months, I'll probably have a lot of nice things to say about it, because if The Witcher 3 was any track record to go by, Witcher 3, I don't know if people remember, launched kind of rough. But a year later, it was one of the best games ever. I don't have proof of this, but my assumption is Cyberpunk will go through a similar trajectory of getting patched and fixed. I don't think CD Projekt are going to abandon this game. They're going to get it to where it needs to be. It just, unfortunately, happened after they started accepting people's money for it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this affects the game's DLC plan, because I know they were planning to release paid additional content. Will they release some of it free of charge as a apology?
Well, as a consolation.
As a consolation. Will they delay it significantly because they need to work on performance stuff? I don't know. But I'm sure we'll find out. Our listeners are probably sick of hearing about Cyberpunk news by now. It's all anyone is talking about, considering how quiet the games industry normally is in December. So, unless there was anything else you wanted to say before we move on, Heath.
No, let's talk about something even edgier than that.
Wow, that's tough to do.
Twitch bans the word simp.
I have not heard anything about this.
Nor would I expect you to. So it's not that the word is outright banned. This was just their terms of service way of saying that simp can qualify as harassment, which is obvious, but that's just Twitch covering themselves. Among simp were also the words virgin and incel.
Okay.
So this is kind of whack. For first, virgin is not exclusively an insult.
Sure, right, yeah.
And then incel was a term created by incels, involuntary celibates, to sort of describe their plight.
Yes.
So imagine if you come up with a term for yourself and those like you, and then big Jeff Bezos says, you can't use that nickname because it's being used to harass other people who do get laid.
Are these words banned in Twitch chat, or you can't say them on a stream? What exactly are we talking about?
Both chatters and streamers are being held to this level of scrutiny.
Okay.
You can't spam simp in the chat without risking being banned yourself.
Gotcha. It can't appear anywhere on the Twitch platform.
There was a funny tweet by Mr. Vsauce. The specific was, I have been forced to cancel my Twitch stream about dark matter candidates.
Strongly interacting massive particles.
Simps. Oh, and it's funny to note when Twitch chose to issue this policy, usage of the word simp doubled on their platform.
That is funny.
I think the only word, I'm pretty sure that the hard R is banned on Twitch.
Okay, I would have expected that was banned if these are banned.
But I think the textualist interpretation of Twitch's terms of service is such that you won't be banned if you're using the word simp, incel virgin in an appropriate context.
Oh.
And for that same reason, is soft A N-word not bannable unless you use it to harass? Who is to say, Jeff Bezos? The level of scrutiny being given to these silly words is sort of infantilizing the usage of these seriouser words.
Okay.
And so that's where Twitch has kind of bungled this PR move, is trying to police the playground.
Sure.
And it really just falls on the creators, who then have to ban every variation of the word simp, be it leet speak or,
Right, you can find ways to spell it out with symbols or something like that.
Yeah, so this is mostly, I don't know who Twitch is protecting.
I wonder where this came from. Like, was there a groundswell of displeasure about people being called simps?
No.
This is just context I lack.
Well, I said I don't know who this protects. It mostly protects women.
Okay. Wait. Women don't get called simps.
Right.
It's men.
And same goes for
incels.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Twitch did this because they felt heat from somewhere. I'm just wondering where that source of the tension came from.
So that was that. And the Twitch DMCA stuff rages on.
Okay. I've lost touch of that story.
There's a really funny clip of a streamer, Germa985, who you've maybe seen, during the Game Awards Persona 5 live music thing.
Okay.
Just trying to save himself from the
takedown.
the bot, the algorithm catching him. He intercuts the vocals with his own, and then every so often he'll be like audio jungle, just like a copyright, the kind that you hear in those online libraries.
Yeah,
audio jungle. yeah, it'll never not make me laugh. So that was that. Witcher season 2.
It sounds like you know more about this than I do.
Okay, so Henry Cavill got hurt on the set of filming this.
That I had heard about.
And it was concerning. But then I also saw lots of jokes being like, Cyberpunk gets released and he gets hurt.
Oh.
Sure. But notable for season 2, I heard that the budget is equal to that of Marvel's Disney TV show endeavors.
Is that good?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
Which means higher than season 1?
We might actually see the genie.
The djinn.
The djinn. And then Jason Momoa is attached. Jason Momoa, as Khal Drogo and Aquaman.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa is going to play the first Witcher from the Witcher spin-off Blood Origin.
Okay.
That you played?
I don't know what this is.
That you read?
I don't know what...
You were supposed to tell me who Jason Momoa's character was.
I don't know what a Blood Origin is.
Oh, maybe this is actual just like straight out of the book. Yeah, Jason Momoa is playing the first Witcher.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I don't know very much about the first Witcher.
I thought it was funny because it's Superman versus Aquaman.
That is pretty funny. This DC crossover in the Witcher universe.
Yeah. Anyway, Witcher season 2. Quick, predict stuff.
But I know largely what's going to happen.
Oh, all right.
I read the books.
All right. Well, obviously, I'm throwing in some spokes in your wheel. What am I trying to say?
Yeah, that makes sense. Or
no, it doesn't.
Spokes are already in the wheel.
Yeah, I'm trying to say I'm jamming up the spokes in your wheel by dropping this Blood Origin stuff. I thought I would say keywords and you would be like, oh, they're doing that. I thought you were a real fan. Anyway,
Ouch.
Witcher 2. And that was all the legit news I had. So you ready for Heath's nonsense Nexus?
I was intrigued by what was going to happen in the Heath nonsense Nexus.
Okay.
Why don't we go there now?
Really quick. This has nothing to do with video games. My dog's ears are glued.
I need you to dig into that some more.
So the breeders were like, oh, yeah, feed him twice a day and brush him. Yeah. Take good care of him because we're taking care of this dog while its litter's suffering from a bacterial infection. And they're trying to quarantine them amongst different families. And they're like, he loves this toy. Okay, bye. Oh, by the way, mind if I glue his ears? And my mom was like, why? And they say, oh, it's for show. Show dogs usually have their ears in front, and so we glue them to help form the cartilage to go that way. It's more appealing.
Oh,
apparently.
It's like braces for the ear.
Yeah. So mom goes, because we don't own the dog, we're just taking care of him.
Yeah.
And so my mom is like, sure. And Bailey's there too. And Bailey tells me all about this. I was off doing something different. And so it's like, okay, great. And they super glued my dog's ears forward. If anybody's listening who has the power to do so, can we refrain from doing that in the future?
How does the super glue come off?
One already has.
Okay.
Her left ear, but the right one's still super glued. But I imagine they're going to reapply it and stuff. Not to kill the mood of the podcast, but can we not make that a thing for Best in Show contests? Can we make the more appealing look the natural ear thing? Because that's the same. They do the same thing with the greyhounds, I think.
Okay.
You see them as the big pointy ears.
Yeah.
Or at least in films and stuff. Can we not do that anymore?
Yeah.
I just wanted to call that out if some breeders are tuning in to this show. I wasn't present for it, but I would like to think I'd have the confidence to be like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Despite
them owning the dog.
Yeah.
That begs the question, Heath. So this is not a naturally occurring look, but it is the current beauty standard. That means at some point someone was like, hey, you know what would make this dog better? Some front-facing ears.
Well,
Let's start gluing them in their infancy. Someone started that.
No, I imagine that was the case for a different breed.
Oh.
And they're like, look how cute these floppy ears are forward.
And so they wanted to apply that to all breeds.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of that.
So that's that. I'm bringing back some levity to this thing. Have you seen people's Nintendo stats for 2020?
I have not.
All right. Well, here's mine.
Okay.
And it speaks volumes.
Okay.
So in 2020, I played 111 hours, which is more than double my play time last year.
2019, which was only 54 hours.
Yes. Funny enough, I played the equal number of games.
Oh, yeah, 4 games each time.
So what could explain this?
I know exactly what explains this.
Yes. This graph is what a Animal Crossing machine looks like.
Yeah. March, April, and May are stacked.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Right? So those are the games I played most. Splatoon 2 makes an appearance. Isn't that nuts?
Okay.
I must have played that at some point.
Let me find my year in review.
Yeah. If I have to make a prediction, you're sub 100 hours.
Any other predictions you want to make before I reveal?
Yeah, your 2019 stats are going to crush your 2020 stats.
Everything you've said so far is accurate, Heath.
Because your 3 houses logged hours is going to dwarf whatever this is.
In 2020, my Nintendo playtime was 35 hours.
Okay.
Compared to 2019 being 161. I played 6 games this year, which was actually more than in 2019, which was only 5.
Mm-hmm.
It was really all 3 houses carrying 2019.
Yeah.
And then this year, the games I played the most were Luigi's
Galaxy.
Mansion 3, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
Yeah.
So all good. More of my months have 0 hours played than the ones that have any hours played.
Yeah, that's an issue with the Switch.
It's feast or famine.
Yeah. And then lastly, a thing that I like that the Switch does is it recommends other games they think I would like.
Oh.
Which is funny.
Because you've already purchased Moonlighter.
Yeah, but I've only played the 2 of those.
Oh, man. My number 1 recommendation is Super Mario Party.
Oh.
I don't think that's accurate.
That misses the mark.
All right. That was fun.
Probably,
I didn't know about that.
Probably because the only games you played were All Stars, Luigi's Mansion. So it thinks you're
I'm a Super Mario fan.
You're a Nintendo. Yeah. Have you seen what the Super Mario Land park in USJ?
Yeah, I watched Shigeru give me a tour.
Yeah. It looks fun.
It does. However, I don't want to go during COVID
Oh,
times.
yeah. We will never go.
No, and it'll never look that clean ever again.
Damn.
It looks pristine.
Have you heard the joke of, you know how there's a certain number of kids they get injured in Universal?
Yeah.
For running into the platform in 9 3/4 column
Oh.
in the Harry Potter world?
Yeah.
How many kids are going to get injured at the Peach's Castle Super Mario 64 portraits running into the paintings?
Yeah.
That's the joke. Anyway. Oh, shout out to Scott the Woz.
Yeah, I know him.
For producing one of my favorite Persona 5 songs recently.
Oh, yeah?
That you're listening to now.
I have watched this.
Damn it. Okay, well.
You're not an RPG guy.
Well, the song in the middle is real good. It's real Persona 5.
Which is funny, because the purpose of the video is to explain why he doesn't like games like Persona 5.
He secretly does, though.
Secretly does.
Same with Dragon Age.
Right.
More nonsense. I watched Soul.
Soul?
The most recent Pixar movie.
Oh, Soul. Okay.
Not 12 hours ago.
The jazz one.
The jazz one.
How was it?
It was good. I liked it. It's AP Inside Out.
Okay.
Inside Out is a very family-friendly look at personality. They break emotion down into 5 things, and they break personality down into 5 things.
Just like real life.
Just like real life. Soul has a lot more to do with mortality and your spark, what makes you want to live, and your purpose.
Your raison d'etre.
Yes, I used that. Yeah, I taught Bailey that phrase the other time. I love raison d'etre. Everyone listening to this show, if your main takeaway, start using raison d'etre. It's such a good phrase. It means your reason for living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took French, so I know all about it.
Oh,
I think it's literally like your reason to be.
Yeah. Do you use joie de vivre a lot?
Not really.
I want to.
Okay.
Joie de vivre means exuberance for life. Right?
Yeah, the joy of life.
Same sort of thing. Joie de vivre and raison d'etre. Anyway, if I had to summarize Inside Out, I tried to do this in fewer than 10 words. Inside Out's motif: sad memories are not bad memories. You like that. Soul's motif: you are more than what you're good at.
Okay.
Which is a nice takeaway, but it's still like real tough for Bailey and I to parse. We had a lot of deliberation once the movie was over. It's not for kids. Soul.
Sure. It sounds a little bit higher concept.
It's for adults who maybe have spent their whole life working toward this dream, and then it doesn't amount to as much as they thought it would.
Okay.
And the moral of the story is, then go find what your real thing is.
Okay.
Which is a hard pill to swallow if you spent decades practicing a certain instrument.
The sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, I used that same phrase 12 hours ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's Soul.
Sure.
It's a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
The art style is real fun. It's got a lot of black people. and it's real fun.
This is just me being out of touch with the modern movie scene. How did you watch this film? Because you didn't go to a theater.
No, I went on the Disney Plus.
Okay, directly released there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I didn't have to pay for it additionally like Mulan.
Oh, it was just part of the service.
That's right.
Cool.
Seth, what do you have to say about Soul?
Podcast God coming in.
Hey, how's it going?
So I got. Give me a sec. What are we talking about?
We were talking about Soul.
Let me do a little Google search here, because I don't know what you're talking about.
I love how you were like, give me the mic behind Chris's back. And now you're like, well, wait a second.
Well, I gotta figure out what we're talking about here.
Here. What's the game you played the most in 2020?
Game I played the most in 2020.
Or enjoyed the most?
Played a whole lot of Call of Duty.
Which one?
It's not called Black Ops. Advanced Warfare.
Okay.
Advanced Warfare.
Wait, is that the one with Kevin
You
Spacey?
mean Infinite Warfare.
Kevin Spacey.
You mean Blackout.
The one that just happened.
You mean
before the one that just came.
Warzone?
Warzone.
Yeah.
So that's an add-on to that
It's
game.
add-on. Okay, separate.
Okay.
Warzone was free.
You meant Infinite Warfare.
Advanced
Wait,
Warfare.
no.
No,
What about the
I'm
2019
telling you.
Modern Warfare reboot?
Never
Oh.
played that.
Okay.
I swear it's Advanced Warfare. Yeah.
But we played Advanced Warfare while I was still in college.
What's the Call of Duty that was the one before this one?
This is the one with
Let's do it
Kevin
right now.
Spacey and the exoskeletons.
Okay, so not that one. Call
This
of
is
Duty.
the
Was it
one-
Infinite Warfare?
Yes.
So I played Infinite Warfare.
Wait, no. Is this one also equally not recent? Yeah, this came out after we graduated high school.
Cool. All right, so let's move on and let's do the one that was right before Cold War.
Oh, is this not in chronology?
What? Oh, I don't think it is. It's by
'Cause this was
sub-franchise.
the Modern Warfare. No, oh yeah. So I guess it was Modern Warfare because I played this one.
This one's got Warzone.
All right.
Yeah,
We
so
narrowed it down.
I played Call of Duty Modern Warfare,
The most recent
the
one.
most recent one, and it was fun. It wasn't. I
Did
was
you play
gonna
with
say.
friends?
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a letdown, but it was fun. Snipers, Car 98
You're
came
the
back.
you're the kind of multiplayer player who will play funny noises through the microphone.
At times.
Do you have
What
like
do you
a
have to say about
soundboard?
that,
Oh, yeah.
Chris?
What device do you use?
So I had a MIDI keyboard.
Oh,
And I had a.
This is high tech.
So I don't because I play off an Xbox, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't have. So I knew how to do sampling through a keyboard and a music making software. So what I did was I added a bunch of these audio files into this DAW, which is what digital audio workspace. Put in all these audio files, right? And then you load up a sampler. You drag all those audio files into the sampler and assign each audio file to a key on the keyboard. So I would
So if I press a certain key many times, I can do the air horn many times.
exactly. You could do multiple at the same time. You could do all stuff, and I would plug in a speaker behind my TV to where
And then once you killed your opponent, you could be like, "Oh
drop
baby,
drop
a triple."
drop a fist on the keyboard, and here comes every single sound under the sun blasting.
And
into
this
your
enhanced
headset.
this elevated the game to the one you most enjoyed.
It allowed me to disrespect people's children on the game without having to use my own voice.
What game are you most looking forward to in 2021?
See, I don't keep track of these things. They come across as they come across to me. I did play Black Ops, the new one with the zombies. Zombies was really cool.
Oh,
Very, very cool. Only problem with it, before I get to that, I'll even say the best part of it is you get the option to leave and like get bonus points for leaving every 5 rounds or something like that
Oh.
after round 20. So we've been playing for like 4 hours because we're
Uh-huh.
killing it. We're OG gamers. We played the originals, zombies.
you
And
dedicate an hour to that. Yeah, 4
hours.
Yeah.
4 or 5 hours on this, right? So we're playing. You can even pause too as well if you're all in the same group. So we pause it. We're like multiple times pause it and go like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
That's really helpful.
Yeah. Go to the bathroom, come back, and we've been playing since the morning. And I was like, guys, like I have a team meeting and I have dinner I have to go to. I'm gonna have to call it quits at some point. So we're like, all right. We made it to like round 54 because every 5 rounds you get to call in a chopper to airlift you out of there, and you get bonus points
Every
for
5 rounds. Oh, you get the
after.
option.
Yeah. You get the option, but we didn't know how it really worked. We just knew it was possible because in the game it keeps like notifying you of it. So we call it in beginning of 55. Supposedly you have to kill all the zombies within a certain amount of time, or they take down the chopper and the game ends and you can't get out.
Oh, it's a risk and reward.
Yeah.
Wait.
So either when you call the chopper to take you out of there, it's do or die.
Okay. You either exit the game or it's a game over. Oh, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Because you can't fail to call the chopper multiple times.
They only have so many choppers.
One, apparently. So.
But you can buy millions of guns off the walls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chalk.
There's a mystery box full of occult weapons, but
Teddy
there's only
bears.
one chopper.
That's where the budget went.
Yeah.
No
Wait,
longer.
there's teleporters in the
No
game,
longer.
right?
Yes, and you go.
But
Have you ever
only
seen?
one
Have you ever
chopper.
seen Stranger Things?
Of course.
So they also have like a
It's like the upside
upside
down.
down, but it's like got jellyfish in the sky, and it's confusing. You kill the zombies, they float upwards, which I guess is downwards in reverse. So the bad part of it was there's these big giant zombies that take multiple mags to take down. Very strong, like juggernaut type deal things. It kind of ruins the game because it takes so long to kill them.
You would prefer it would be
Only way to really take them down.
waves of manageable zombies versus you would prefer less enemy variety.
Well, so they got enemy variety as well, but they don't need those big boss guys. And the big boss guys, when you kill the big boss guys, turn into two skinny boss guys that are just like almost as equally as hard. The only way to effectively take them down is if you have 4 people playing in a game and you all just nuke the balls off the thing.
So
And then the problem is you do
teamwork
that.
is required.
Yeah, you do that, and then all of a sudden there's 2 of them, and now you got to take out both of those, and they can shoot projectiles at you, and it's just annoying. Good thing about the dogs, they do have like zombie dogs. Again, very easy to take out, which is good because those can be annoying. Yeah,
Okay.
zombies.
You're looking
Black
for
Ops.
more games like that. But you would never try Back for Blood.
I don't even know what that is, but I will say this to Infinity Ward and the Call of Duty creators: don't make a zombies in the next game.
Oh, it's old, over and done.
No, I'm saying like you can't make a zombies every year like that. There's not enough anticipation.
You need to let it breathe.
Because remember the past games where they kept doing zombies every single game that came out, and it just kept becoming less and less people caring about it. And then like 3 years went by, and then we're like, yo, where's zombies been? Zombies drops. Everybody buys zombies. Everybody's playing zombies and having fun killing zombies.
Would you ever go back to the original zombies? Or is this effectively replace it?
Because I don't play video games like that. Like
You only play what's hot in the mainstream.
I play until I'm pretty much bored with it and done with it, and then it's something that I don't really revisit.
Okay.
So like I played Black Ops. I bought Black Ops and I played it for the last 4 or 5 weeks I was at school, and I haven't played it since.
Right. Well, thank you,
What?
Podcast God.
Well, thank you, Podcast
Of
God.
course, yeah.
If you have any other bright ideas, feel free to drop by.
Probably done for today. I'm gonna go drink some eggnog.
Thanks for being our first guest.
Do I get put on the cover of the episode?
That's like
Right into the clip art. Yep.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys. See you later. Good luck with the rest of your podcast.
Thank you.
That was Podcast God. Moving right along.
Was that it for the nonsense Nexus?
It's gonna have to be because that took.
There's a nonsense quota per episode, and we can't exceed it.
Damn. That's all the news for this week.
Yeah.
When we come back, we will break down our top 10 games of 2020. Stay tuned.
And we're back.
Number 10.
Wait. Just some little context here. This is an annual tradition of ours, which we started way back on episode 4, where at the end of the year, just to wrap things up, add some closure maybe, we recount the 10 games we enjoyed most playing in the previous 12 months. But unlike other people you might see coming up with their top 10 games of 2020, Heath and I have not necessarily played that many 2020 releases, so the twist on our lists are any game we played in the year that was new to us is eligible. So did not necessarily have to release in 2020. We just had to come to it this year, and that's really all the context you need. Did I miss anything, Heath?
No, you nailed it. The games we enjoyed the most.
Yeah, it's a personal list. Obviously, nothing super objective going on here, unless you feel differently.
Well, there was a part of me that was like, the criteria was maybe like, what is the best game?
Okay.
And that might be different from what I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, there is a distinction there. I usually lean towards what I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, I would swap my number 2 and number 1.
I would also be swapping.
We usually alternate, do my number 10, do your number 10, and so on and so forth. I usually dislike honorable mentions. I think they're a cop-out. If I'm making a top 10 list and you add in honorable mentions, isn't it really just like a top 11 or 12 list? Why don't just do that? However, I have one honorable mention because I don't think it fits with all the other entries on my list. It's just not that kind of a game in the same sense.
Right. Shall we say it at the same time?
Sure. 3, 2, 1.
Tabletop Simulator.
Okay, we are of a similar mind.
Right.
It's not a game. It's really just a physics engine. But it came in clutch this year. This year, of course, being 2020, where board game nights were disbanded for like 6 months or so.
Had we not had Tabletop Simulator, we would not have been able to log tens of hours over the course of this year playing with friends.
I think I played it for 90 hours this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friends and relationships would have withered on the vine had it not been for Tabletop Simulator and Discord.
I would have forgotten what you looked like.
Exactly.
Why would that make any difference?
We played cool games like The King's Dilemma, which we probably wouldn't have played in person based on that game needing you to play it consistently to finish it. Yeah, it was great. We discovered Wavelength, which was a great party game, really easy to play remotely. It was the year of Tabletop Simulator, but it felt weird putting it on my list.
Yeah. I slapped it in like number 12.
Okay. Any other observations you want to make before we dive into our lists, Heath?
No, we should get started.
Okay. Kick it off.
No, you kick it off.
I'll kick it off. Okay. And
I also did your list as me.
Oh.
Or as you.
I made a list for you.
Just our predictions.
That'll be funny. In 2020, I played 20 games that were eligible. I counted games that I, A, had to finish, and B, had not played previously.
I counted 22.
For me?
Yeah. Did you exclude Hitman?
Yep. Did not finish Hitman, so it got cut. I didn't finish Dusk either. That might be the other one you were counting.
That's the other one. Okay.
I dropped it. I got tired of it. Yeah, so 20 games this year were eligible, which is down from previous years. I think I know why. But here we go, kicking it off. This is, I think, overall, maybe my weakest list I've ever done at the end of the year. But to start things off, I'm already breaking rules because I have put Super Mario Galaxy as my number 10, which is a game I did play before as a kid, and I really don't remember anything about it. So it was a new enough experience for me to cheat and put it on my list at number 10. Yeah, a very similar thing happened when I put Super Mario Odyssey on my list a couple of years back. I don't like platformers. It's just a genre that doesn't appeal to me. However, I can't help but recognize and appreciate the sheer quality of these 3D Mario games, be it Odyssey or, in this case, now Galaxy. I think they're very well designed to be approachable for everyone and fun no matter your skill level. The levels get very inventive towards the end. Just to have the design philosophy of, hey, make a 3D platformer using this new piece of technology called the Wii Remote and motion controls, which were a big deal back in 2007. And to still make such a good game with those restrictions, I think is commendable. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say. Probably people don't want to hear too much about this 13-year-old video game, but it holds up with a 2020 lenses on, and I recommend Super Mario Galaxy as long as you don't hate platformers. I don't like them, but I don't hate them either. I have enough of an appreciation for them.
Just play it for the music.
Yeah, The music is quite orchestral, really nice. And that's Super Mario Galaxy, number 10.
Easy choice for you, Chris. I had that on your list.
Okay.
Wildly out of place.
Oh.
My number 10 is Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Oh, that's pretty lower than I thought. Go ahead.
Much in the way that Tabletop Simulator was there for me during COVID, so was Animal Crossing.
Okay.
That was one of the very few ways I could spend time with my girlfriend during the beginning months of it. And I took to it heavily. I very much enjoyed the game on a regular basis from the first time I started to when I hit credits. And I feel like I would be playing it more often as well. I did log on recently and did all the fun snowman thing.
Right, because the game changes wildly depending on the season, right?
That's right. One thing I particularly enjoyed was one of Bailey's residents came to my island.
Unprompted.
Yeah, because if you don't log in for such a time, I think they can come and go. So I got a refugee from hers.
That's
and
funny.
I wanted to bring it to her attention. But I don't feel like same goes with her. She for sure hasn't played it on a regular basis since quarantine lifted-ish. It's a super polished game, but that you have to really enjoy the kind of collect-a-thon and digital cleaning that it is.
Yeah, very regimented.
Yeah. And so that's why it fits in number 10, is because it'll always be with me as sort of a very alien moment that we had in March of 2020. And it's a good game regardless. It just needs a couple quality of life things.
Okay.
Multiplayer needs to be way easier.
Yeah. Cumbersome, I've heard.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I also need to make it easier to fix my house up. I'm a hoarder.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah. That was my number 10.
All right. In that case, I'll move on to number 9.
We should mention we will have no crossover among our two lists.
Let me see here. Oh, yeah, we won't. No crossover this year.
Which is interesting.
We had some crossover last year.
Sure did, yeah.
Although, my list has crossover with your list from last year.
Likewise.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we've influenced each other from the past.
Yeah.
My number 9 was an indie game that kind of caught me off guard, and that is Moonlighter.
Damn.
What's wrong?
I didn't put that in your top 10.
Okay, yeah. This game, it really, really got into my head. This is the hybrid game between you are a shopkeeper selling items in your fantasy town by day, and then diving into caves and fighting monsters for loot at night. And it's very cyclical. You go day, night, and live out your life, going up some progression trees, getting better gear. It is, I mean, if I want to be reductive, it's very Skinner box. You're grinding for the better equipment with the higher stats. And
Skinner box. That's also a raison d'etre. What does Skinner box mean again?
It's the psychology experiment where there were rats in a box and they would get shocked if... So it was like the uneven reward interval, I believe, where if they ring a bell, they'll receive food as a prize only some of the time, which made it more compelling than if they received it all the time or none of the time.
Oh.
Maybe I'm misrepresenting things here, but that's what I think a Skinner box is. It is the dopamine the human brain gets when reward is doled out at like an irregular interval. Yeah. That's why people get addicted to gambling. That's why people get addicted to Destiny.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Moving on to Moonlighter. I've talked a lot about the game already. And this could, out of context, sound like a diss on the game, but I mean it as praise. My favorite part about this game is organizing your inventory, which sounds mundane as hell. But when you are on the clock in the dungeon and you have like...
You're on the clock?
Yeah, if you wait too long and go too slowly, an unbeatable monster will appear.
Oh, you told me this.
Which adds a time crunch, which is necessary for this game where you want to take your time and be meticulous, but you can't necessarily afford to without that time crunch.
You can warp out still, right?
Yeah, you can warp out at any time.
But that's costly.
There's a cost associated with it, and if you take too much time and have to warp out, you won't reach the end, which you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the inventory management system is very, very well designed. How you have to periodically go in there, reshuffle things to like maximize your profit when you return home. Almost play like a mini game with yourself about which corner you put which item because of all of their unique effects that are usually directional based about I put this item next to this one and I'll get huge profits. I haven't seen other games do that. It was pretty unique and compelled me to keep playing. Only bad thing about Moonlighter was it slightly overstayed its welcome. You'll do kind of a similar loop through 4 different themed dungeons. Had it ended after the 3rd dungeon, I would have been over the moon. It was like I had seen everything I needed to. I was ready to be done, but then there was that 4th dungeon I still had to go through.
Is that the robot one?
It was the robot one. It was just one too many. If they could introduce more variety in a sequel, I would be there right away, ready to try it. Moonlighter was great. The music is jolly as hell. And that was my number 9.
Huh. All right. My number 9 is What Remains of Edith Finch.
Oh.
I played that this year.
Yeah, you did. But I don't remember you being that hot on it.
Well, it's only number 9.
Okay.
It's a walking simulator in which you are exploring the fates of your family members in this big house. And it's a pretty creative, it's a very artsy look at some first-person storytelling. I also played Gone Home, which is also a walking simulator in a big house where you're figuring out some family member secrets. But I liked Edith Finch's creativity a bit more.
Oh, I would have flipped. I thought you preferred Gone Home, so I got that one wrong.
Well, when I finished Gone Home, I just thought I think Gone Home has the better story.
Okay.
But Edith Finch is more creative as a game.
That much I would agree with, for sure.
Yeah. And I thought that it deserved some recognition for that reason.
Yeah.
My favorite part of Edith Finch is the fish part.
That's my favorite part as well. It's a real highlight.
Yeah. And I get Edith Finch vibes from another game on my list.
Okay.
So I'll say that.
Interesting. All right. Moving on then to my number 8. So I played 2 super hot games this year. I played the original, the 2016 super hot that started it all, and I played its kind of under the radar sequel that came out this year, Mind Control Delete. And there wasn't room on the list for both of them. I had to choose. I really hemmed and hawed over which one to include. The first one, have to give it points for its ingenuity of coming up with this dynamite core gameplay loop idea. It's a first-person shooter where time moves when you move, which recontextualizes every action you make in a first-person shooter to suddenly be this pseudo turn-based puzzle game because you have the time to consider each and every one of your actions, which means the developers in turn can throw a lot of enemies at you at once because you have the resources and time allotment to deal with them.
Oh, so it's like a Muso game?
There aren't that many enemies, but you would be overwhelmed if it was taking place in real time, obviously, because you have like bullet time reflexes since time progresses so slowly. Anyway, the first one, handcrafted levels, really short. It's like a 3-hour experience, leaves you hungry for more, which I think more games should do. But then you have Mind Control Delete, which I'd say it fully realized that core gameplay idea and fleshed it out with the variety the original Super Hot was lacking. You had greater enemy diversity. What do you do when you're fighting foes that'll burst into shrapnel when you kill them? Or how do you handle an enemy that can lunge at you, meaning you'll have to be constantly strafing? Or it has much greater weapon diversity as well. Sniper rifles were new, lots of more new throwable objects. And it made the game a rogue light. The one complaint I had of the original Super Hot was they didn't fully explore this gameplay idea in all the ways I wanted them to. What's the advantage of a roguelite, though? You get all the variety in the world because of randomization and approaching the same level from a different angle, different starting location, different enemies being present, different weapons around. It was great. It was what I wanted, which is why I think I am giving the edge to Mind Control Delete and putting it in my number 8 spot. I felt like I had seen all Super Hot could be when I finished Mind Control Delete. I didn't feel the same way when I finished original Super Hot. But once again, the only blemish on Mind Control Delete's record was it went on too long. I've said this about Moonlighter already, but it was like a 15-hour game where I wanted it to be a 9 or 10-hour game.
Oh, that's longer than Dishonored.
It was pretty lengthy, which was kind of surprising. Dragged on too long, but that's really the only criticism I have of it. It was exactly what I wanted out of a Super Hot sequel, and that's why it's on number 8.
Yay. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, nice.
What have you got?
Well, my number 8's Dishonored.
Okay.
It made it on the list.
It did. Stealthed its way on.
Again, I mostly respect it for its creativity and agency that it gives the player and the variability you can have amongst your playthroughs and the way in which how you play affects future levels. I found the progression real good. I liked the characters. I rescued Slackjaw at the end, even though I sided with Granny Rags before I even met the guy.
Okay, he won you over.
He won me over. Well, I mean, I wanted, human beings first and foremost. Isn't she a witch, right?
She's seen some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Dishonored, it's real good, even though I kept in the back of my mind, the reason why it's 8 is because despite the novel setting and effective gameplay, I was still thinking like, there's quality of life features that were in the Batman games that came out like 2 years before this one. What the hell? What's going on? And so yeah, that was kind of frustrating for me. But overall, it's a good game. I'd be foolish to not put it on the list. I liked the twist, and you could probably vouch for it.
It's like a top 5 game of all time for me.
Wow.
So yeah, I vouch for it.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, you just have a strong preference for third-person stealth games over first-person.
I feel like it's equally engaging, more cinematic even.
Yes.
And less cumbersome.
Okay. I'm not going to criticize your list, Heath.
That's Dishonored.
Very good. Glad to see it there. Heath, this next entry, it's my number 7.
Number 7.
It's Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Ooh.
And I need to have an intervention with myself. It's time for you to feel validation, Heath. All right, I'm still putting it on number 7. Much like you pointed to Animal Crossing as your essential quarantine game, this is mine. This is what I associated with in my head. It was the game I was playing heavily in March and April. And it allowed me to get out and sightsee in sunny Greece when it was cold and dark.
Feel the wind in your hair.
In upstate New York. But I've said a lot of nice things about this game on many, many episodes early in the year. If you want to hear me say nice things about the game, go back and listen to those. I think the base, taking over bases is as fun as it's been in any Ubisoft game and all that. However, I've started to come around to your line of thinking about this game a little bit, Heath. It has retroactively made me enjoy Assassin's Creed Origins a little bit less. This is probably the last time I talk about AC Odyssey, so let's have some closure around this.
Wait, this will not be the last time we talk about it.
Oh, that's right. It never ends, but
you got to play my quest.
I have to play your quest. After I upgraded my PC, I returned to this game. I had DLC to play and stuff. And some criticisms that maybe I had overlooked initially were more evident than ever now. This is one thing you criticized, Heath. This is the first Assassin's Creed game to introduce abilities. These are powerful moves you can do that are on a cooldown because of their sheer utility.
Spartan kick.
Yeah, like Spartan kick or doing a cool warping chain assassination.
Wolf yell.
Yeah, yelling really loud. These are strong abilities that previously no other Assassin's Creed game has ever allowed you to do.
You can kill so many Athenians if you use them in succession.
Yes. Now, the thing is to not make, in order for combat not to be a breeze, they had to beef up the enemies now that you have all these new abilities. So enemies naturally became a lot more damage spongy. They have got bigger, fatter health bars than ever. They take longer to kill. The issue is, while you're waiting for those cool ability cooldowns and you're hitting them with your vanilla melee attacks or your regular bow arrows from your bow.
Your quick fire arrow, yeah.
It feels like the pacing of the battle slows to a crawl. You feel like your moves are ineffective at best. All you're really doing is waiting for your aces up your sleeve to recharge, your cooldown abilities to come back. And in the meantime, you're kind of waiting. And I don't want to feel like I'm waiting during my combat encounters for the cool stuff to come back. It makes combat, I think I called it the best in the series earlier in the year. I don't think it's the best in the series anymore. It is too slow as you're playing this waiting game that's annoying. And the other thing that became apparent to me was that this is the most RPG Assassin's Creed there's been so far. And what I mean by that is, to be successful at the later game content, you have to specialize to some degree. You can't be this jack of all trades necessarily. You have to invest in, I'm going to be a real warrior and have strong melee abilities, or I'm going to fully invest in stealth and assassinate guys, or I'm going to be an archer and take down people from afar. And there are 3 separate skill trees. Nothing's stopping you from spreading out your abilities, but you will become ineffective in all areas if you become a jack of all trades. The game wants you to kind of pick one, maybe 1.5 trees and spec into those. I basically majored in being a warrior with like a minor in stealth. That was my build, which means I largely ignored archery in this game. I could shoot arrows, but it would be a waste of my time when every other avenue to the combat would be far more effective for me, just the way I built my character. This is in stark contrast to Origins, where you really could be much more of a generalist. Enemies weren't as spongy. You could be this jack of all trades, which just meant that combat, you had more options available to you. Archery was a part of my stealth clearing bases routine in Origins, and it never was in Odyssey because it just wasn't powerful the way I built my character.
Yeah, you would line up your headshot and it would still only do maybe like 2/3 of the enemy's health.
If that. Sometimes it's like late game, it's like a quarter of their health, a full-on headshot. Which means that, okay, I felt railroaded in Odyssey to playing this one way I have custom tailored for myself, but anything else was no longer viable. And in a game of this length, this is the most padded game I've ever played.
Wait, let me think of a joke. Even more padded than...
You can do it.
I mean, Forza, because there's pads in the car seats.
Oh, the plush leather.
I was trying to think like is there an Asylum game where the walls are super padded? Is there like a early development childhood game that like
you tried?
Damn.
Yeah, but I mean, to illustrate my point, Odd Origins, the Egyptian game I played last year and loved, that was a really long game. I played both of its big, meaty expansion packs, and I completed the main story. That was 70 hours. That's really long. Odyssey, before I touched any DLC, just the base game, was 100 hours. Longer by like a third than Origins, which was already arguably too long. It's bloated. you get tired of using your one kind of gameplay style you've spec'd into. I like games that encourage diverse character builds because that adds to a game's replayability. But when a game is this long, I'm never going to replay it. So that point becomes moot. So yeah, there were some bad things about Odyssey that are now apparent to me. It's still number 7 on my list because I am what's
a
it called?
sycophant.
Not a sycophant. I'm a
glutton or a masochist.
What's the syndrome called?
Stockholm.
Yes, thank you. I've become ingratiated to my captor with Stockholm syndrome, but it's good.
You mentioned Damage Sponge.
Yeah,
that the combat, the pacing, the terrible pacing of the combat, I can live with.
Okay.
The issue I take is when I sneak up to my target who's laying asleep, and I slit a knife to their throat, and I get a big 3,000 that pops up.
Yeah.
No sound effect, and then they slowly rise and then try to fight me because my gutting of their trachea only did half their health.
Right, which illustrates like this game necessitates
unacceptable.
It necessitates the specialization, because if you aren't pouring every point you have into the stealth tree, your assassinations won't kill the guy. If you can build your character so you will always kill them in stealth, but then you're going to suck at melee combat and suck at range combat. You've got to pick 1/3 of the pie, and only playing with 1/3 isn't fun enough. And that's the issue.
It's awful. You should be able to kill any human being, with the exception of maybe like one, with a knife to a sleeping throat.
Right.
Unbelievable.
So yeah, that very negative take was my closure to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, a game I still like and made number 7 on my list.
And we look forward to undoing that closure when you play my AC Odyssey quest next episode.
Your custom quest, yeah. What's your number 7, Heath?
My number 7 is Dead by Daylight.
Oh, yeah.
That multiplayer asymmetrical horror survival game that I took to earlier this year.
But played throughout.
I played it throughout, and I still think it is a sweet game. Another third-person stealth game, even though you could play as the monster in first person.
Oh.
Demonstrably proving my point. I think this game is awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome because you constantly have to adapt to what kind of hunter you're up against, work with your team. You can specialize yourself and be the type of player that kites the monster around an obstacle course, affording your teammates the chance to repair that generator. I only tapped back into it briefly to see the new graphical update. They also added a killer that's like a conjoined twin.
I've heard about that one.
And then the imp jumps off and sort of like a face hugger grabs onto the survivor, allowing the other one to come and pursue. And I thought it was just a solid game. And the only issue is the graphics, partly.
Oh.
Well, with the animations, I should say, the graphics look fine, like the art design. But if you get put on the hook ever so slightly off, it's a little immersion shattering. I'll try to play this while listening to a podcast, and I'll have to throw it on mute really quick because I hear the breathing of the Demogorgon. Yeah, and I gotta pay attention. This game is real sick, and when I just barely escape through the gate by the skin of my teeth, I get a rush that I only felt in gaming during the Call of Duty days. Yeah, Dead by Daylight's sick. It only missed the top 5 due to the other games I played this year.
Having listened to you talk about this game and sing its praises for a while now, it has earned my respect. It sounds like it's taking a lot of risks in the multiplayer department.
I would be interested in Sherpaing friends in this game.
Nice. I think we left off with my number 6. All right. Now we're getting to the part where I unabashedly love these games. Without any guilt trip involved. Okay. So number 6 is Thronebreaker, The Witcher Tales.
Oh, I put it at number 5.
Oh, very close. Hey, remember CD Projekt Red? They made good video games.
Okay.
Okay. What thread was happening there?
No, it's just I'm trying to be like, CD Projekt, please keep us in your, because you know that they're drafting a list
Of the podcasters they like?
of the loyalists, and I want us to be like, we like CD Projekt.
Yeah, we do. Their games are always great eventually. Anyway, so this is the card-based battling game that takes place in the Witcher world.
You play as Queen Moira.
Queen Meve.
Yeah.
The ruler of Rivia and Lyria.
Running around the continent at differing speeds. Helping farmers and fighting Geralt at one point.
I don't have any statistics to back this up, Heath, but I would hazard a guess this is maybe the most underappreciated game on my list. I don't hear anyone mention this game ever.
No.
However, it deserves far more praise than it receives. It is legitimately great. So,
It took the place of Slay the Spire this year.
yeah, it was the card game.
Wasn't
I played
Slay the
this year.
Spire your number 2?
It was number 3 last year.
Yeah.
Really high. Yeah, The Witcher 3 had this minigame in it called Gwent, like this collectible card battling game that then got spun off into its own standalone multiplayer game called Gwent. And then this is a spin-off of that game to make Gwent into a single-player narrative-based decision-making adventure game.
Yeah.
And it does a great job. It has so many things I can say about that are great. I played games with a lot of great protagonists in it this year, and Queen Meve would be among them. She is basically like what you would want a ruler to be like. She's just so earnest about caring for her people, but she'll still make those hard calls that she does for the greater good. I really liked her dynamic. This game it kind of shocked me how fun it was to read all the narrative and dialogue in it. Very well written. At times, it felt like I was straight up reading one of the Witcher novels.
Ooh, don't you wish that this got a Disco Elysium final cut and all the voice lines were acted?
I believe it is fully voice acted.
Ooh.
Yeah, this game had budget behind it, which brings me to my next point, how production values are great across the board. Outside of like maybe Hearthstone, this is like the best looking digital card game I've seen.
Wow.
Animations on the cards are fantastic. There's like little details they never had to put in there, but they did anyway. It is really nice to look at. It fleshes out Witcher lore, if you've read the books, taking place concurrently with some of the books, so you know what Queen Meve was up to while Geralt was doing his thing. And then last but not least, the gameplay pacing was phenomenal. It's like broken up into these 3 thirds, which ensure you never get tired. You've got your standard card battling fare, which you employ whatever strategy you've built your deck to do. All right, that's fine. That's only taking up a third of your time, though. Another third chunk of your time, you do these cool one-off puzzle battles where you're not playing normally. You have to...
The stealth one, notably.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. You have to accomplish some hyper-specific goal that you normally wouldn't be trying to do over the course of like a regular card game, but it'll be something like, make sure you eliminate this one key target on the enemy side. Or there are boulders rushing towards your queen in this ambush. You need to deal with the boulders before they reach your side of the board. Or it simulates a stealth-based encounter using card play, which is just wacky. The puzzles keep things super fresh because each one is its own one-off unique thing you never see again. So they had to have so much creativity to make all these different puzzles, each of them giving you a cool reward at the end, be it a new card to add to your decks or what have you. And then the last third of the game is the story, which plays a prominent role. You make key decisions. And as is tradition in CD Projekt games, the story is maybe the best part. I love their decision-making approaches. They don't fall into the pitfall of, when you make like a binary branching story decision in some games, maybe you don't like the choice you just made. So what do? You quickly reload and go with the other one that might suit you better. But CD Projekt, this is true of Witcher, it's true in Thronebreaker, they find a way to sidestep that problem by only revealing to you the ramifications of your choices hours down the line, far past
nice.
when you would ever be tempted to quick reload and save scum your way out of it.
You have sunken that cost.
You've sunk the cost, and in turn, at least in my mind, it just makes it feel like maybe you don't like the outcome, but you respect it anyway because it just becomes a canonical part of your playthrough, and you just accept it. I like that approach a lot. And maybe like the best thing, the nicest thing I can say is I recommended this game to a friend this year. He was a Witcher fan who never cared for Gwent. It didn't do it for him. He played through this game, finished it, and when he was done said, yeah, Gwent, not my favorite still. However, thank you for the recommendation. I'm really glad I played this game. That's a testament to how good of an overall experience it is. Thronebreaker is sick.
Dang.
Yeah, it's great.
Yo. And unlike Super Hot, you wish it were longer.
It ended when it needed to.
Yeah, isn't it like it's like 35 hours?
Dude, it's like a 40-hour RPG. Like this is not a small trivial game. It's a big deal that no one who I've talked to has like heard about it or played it. It's wild.
Cool.
Yeah.
More decisions that only have repercussions hours later.
That's a good design philosophy. I
good.
think. Yeah.
My number 6 also has those.
You say questioningly.
Nope. No, my number 6 is BioShock.
Oh, okay.
We've already mentioned BioShock briefly. It is the classic first-person shooter, horror, survival, adventure.
Yeah.
That also has a twist, and I like the setting blew me away a little bit harder than Dishonored's setting did.
That's fair. I could see people seeing that.
Even though all the enemies are just psycho crazies. I liked the characters.
It oozes atmosphere.
And where BioShock was before its time doing fun progression things, allowing me to choose either big gun ammo conservation play or the magic kind of play. It allowed me to do that. It allowed me to sneak under the floorboards a little bit, or do like a little hackery type stuff, which I also enjoyed. I can't even think of a part of BioShock that I didn't like. Maybe the graphics of the final boss were a little blue.
The final boss is often not considered a highlight of that game.
I do like that it paved the way of big enemy charging at you and it knock you back with cool camera. Whoa!
It paved the way for like head bobbing.
For like, oh yeah. Not enough good things to say about BioShock.
It's a classic for a reason.
I liked that one character used her finger to write out the code for the safe in the residue from the toxic gas in the room. They copied that's like 10 hours in.
Okay.
They copied that in the first 10 minutes of BioShock 2, and I'm like, that is not how you do it. BioShock 1 is how you do it.
It had the
Ken
patience.
Levine can come to my birthday party.
Wow. He gets a personal invite.
That's the number 6.
That's a great game.
Yeah.
Worthy of number 6. Number 5.
They should put Big Daddy in Dead by Daylight.
Oh, yeah. He'd be right at home.
And he can have a special, even though he has a drill, he'll still put you on the hook. Even though he could kill you in 1 second. That's the case for a lot of those Dead by Daylight killers.
They could have offed you hours ago.
Kill you 1 second, but they put you on the hook.
Got to make it balanced.
What's your number 5?
All right, we're getting down to it here, halfway. Number 5 is Return of the Obra Dinn.
Oh, I forgot you played that.
Yeah, so can't blame you for that, because this was the first game I talked about in 2020. Feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But still technically eligible. Yeah, this game is from your list last year. This is the Lucas Pope. It has the most boring elevator pitch imaginable. You are a tax agent trying to make insurance claims on this early 1800s naval vessel that returned to port, but empty. All 60 of its passengers have disappeared, and you need to fill out your report basically to submit to insurance to make sure people pay the right fines anyway. But the crux of the game is exploring this 1800s ship and doing a giant logic puzzle. It is like...
I like those.
Yeah, it's basically an MCAT question, but turned into a 12-hour video game. And it is phenomenal. Oh my gosh. The aesthetics give it a personality that is one of a kind. It is this early Macintosh-looking green computer monitor aesthetic with Lucas Pope's banger of a soundtrack. It feels very sea shanty. It has liberal use of bells and strings. If I hear just a couple chords from Soldiers of the Sea, for example, I'm immediately, right now, transported back to playing that game and the experience I had with it. It is just one of a kind. Gameplay-wise, it makes some really smart design choices, like how it approaches locking in your progress of... This is an intimidating task, needing to identify 60 unique characters and their causes of disappearance. That's an overwhelming amount of information to parse. But it locks in guaranteed information for you. Basically confirms your suspicions every 3 passengers you make a correct guess on, which is perfect. Any fewer than 3 would be too easy. Any more than 3 would be too punishing. It's just the perfect balance. It made me, people have maybe called it the best detective game ever, and to its credit, it made me feel like an eccentric detective in the way that I would notice some seemingly innocuous detail, and then that detail would, the implications of it would create this spider web of ideas in my head, some of which totally false, that weren't relevant whatsoever, some of which were correct.
That has to be the gunner's mate.
Right. And then you follow up on all these little ideas you get, and then when they pay off and you are correct, just some guy's boot tipped you off to figuring out who he is, you feel like a mad genius.
I never looked at their boots.
It's just so tastefully done when you figure out, I can base information off a person's occupation, the company they keep,
the top men,
where they are. It's confusing because the story is told out of chronological order, but once you piece it all together, it is sublime. And this purely informational approach to puzzle design was a revelation to me. The only thing that I can say that's even somewhat points against Obra Dinn is that another game on my list as yet to come takes some of the wind out of its sails.
Ha!
But otherwise, this is almost a one-of-a-kind, unique game I recommend wholeheartedly.
Yeah, we both recommend it universally. If only it were easier for normies to pilot.
Yeah, because of the first-person controls?
Yeah, and you're stepping below deck, and things aren't as easily distinguished at a distance.
Yes, that the visual style comes at a trade-off of sometimes things are muddy.
Maybe if it were on rails.
I wouldn't have liked that.
I wouldn't, me neither, no.
Okay. Obra Dinn was great.
Sick. All right.
We're now cracking your top 5, Heath.
That's right. What was it? Oh, Hellblade.
Yeah.
Senua's Sacrifice.
Let's hear about this.
The most good-looking indie game I've ever played, as far as graphics.
Yeah, what they accomplished on what I think was a small budget is incredible.
Man, Senua's mom got it so bad.
You said that before.
And same for her boyfriend. Yeah, this game, it really takes into advantage the voices that Senua is hearing, the big watch outs when you're fighting the big men, it instilled genuine fear in me. When one of the lights went out and I rushed over one of the voices said, your torch, it's going out. And I was just like, really? There's no indication. And I run to the nearest beam of light from in this cave.
That's funny.
And I'm like, God, it got me. So it totally delivers on the promises of you are a woman suffering from psychosis in Celtic Britain.
Dark Ages.
There are these brutish men who may or may not be there, and you have to fight through the Norse gods to get your boyfriend's soul back. I really felt like a champ, especially when the limiters came off and the damage output was that much greater. I'm a broken record. The sequel has yet to come out.
Right.
I have the greatest confidence in the world.
Oh, okay.
That Team Senua is going to deliver on an equally respectful journey.
That's critical.
For her. I want to be like, try this now. Try schizophrenia. Wait, no, that's what she suffers from, kind of.
Some psychosis.
Try this super lesser known Raynaud syndrome. Ooh, how are they going to gamify that? The storytelling was great.
It was.
I'm name dropped in it.
Oh yeah. The cliffs.
Yeah,
Heath.
that's my number 5.
Yeah, this is striking because you had 2 checkpoints where you were telling us your impressions on this game. The first one was halfway through, and you were kind of dreading playing through to the end. And then you came back next episode where you had finished it and were hot for Senua, which I think paints a picture of like how strong the ending to this game is and how maybe when you're in the thick of it, it's kind of unpleasant, but it sticks with you far after you see the credits.
Yeah. I recommend it to those who want a pretty, what's the most similar game message-wise? Celeste?
Oh, perhaps.
There's nothing quite like it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially what it's accomplishing in the audio department.
Superb. Yeah. Sublime.
All right. I'll take it back with my number 4. Another game from what feels like a lifetime ago. That would be Red Dead Redemption 2.
I nailed that one.
Oh, okay. You put it at number 4. I
said that was number 4, yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, this is a very long, very detailed game. I'm sure many of you have probably played it, considering how many copies it's sold. I don't care for the Grand Theft Auto games. Red Dead really does it for me. And I mean, like, really does it for me. The storytelling is, as long as you play by Rockstar's rules, the storytelling is second to none. And what I mean by that is very restrictive level design and mission objectives. They don't want you deviating from what they intend you to do. But it's so long as you're cool with that, and I'm fine with that. It depends on like what kind of game I'm playing. If I'm playing a Dishonored, I need full agency. If I'm playing a Rockstar experience, yeah, I can limit myself. That's fine because I know they're gonna reward me for that. With the story of Arthur Morgan, who I'm adding to my list of great protagonists. He is probably the best I've played this year, and probably one of my favorite protagonists in any game ever. He has such an arc to him, an arc that is as great and varied as all the different landscapes you traverse in that game. It almost feels like and I like games that do this. When you have a long, epic narrative that you're telling over the course of dozens of hours in an open world, you kind of need to segment it somehow. And the way this game makes each chapter almost episodic, where, yeah, there are definitely through lines, but whether you're in really agricultural roads or much more industrialized Saint Denis, the very tone of the story seems to change. It feels like you go on a journey. Maybe if I have to nitpick, Chapter 5 could be omitted without too much consequence, but other than that, this is really, really a well-realized, meticulously crafted narrative experience that I'm so glad I put in the time to fully see through to the end.
You were praising Arthur Morgan's character.
Yeah.
Does that mean that you really took to his family life storyline bit with the woman, or his relationship with like Hamish Sinclair, the Downs kid?
Oh, yeah. Those are all important pieces of the puzzle. So this is an advantage of having such a long, drawn-out medium. The Arthur you start playing as is very different than the Arthur you end the game playing as. And the advantage of having that take place over 70 hours is it doesn't feel forced or arbitrary or artificial. You really feel like enough time has elapsed for this man to have like a revelation about how he's living his life, how he needs to change. It organically unfold over the course of this really long game. And I loved it. I love that journey it takes you on.
Okay, yeah.
Plus, it's maybe like top 5 best looking games I've played. It's just, the environments are so pretty.
I guess my impression of it has since been warped into, I see things as like a means to an end.
Is this because of all the time you've put into Red Dead Online?
Yeah.
Which is maybe a more mechanically focused way to play the game?
Yeah, I see you're sightseeing, but I'm mostly micromanaging this sandbox by the grain.
I see. And I think that's valid. I feel like the more hours you put into a game, the more you start to only see its systems. Some of that initial novelty and magic wears off just due to sheer number of hours.
Yeah.
And I have played Red Dead less than you have, so the magical spell has not broken for me.
You got to stop and smell the cacti.
Yeah. That was my number 4.
My number 4. And this is where the list goes into the dark dimension.
Oh, I don't know what you mean by that.
This is where the outsider comes up and has that monologue.
Okay.
My number 4 is A Way Out.
Oh, I did not see this coming.
The Hazelight co-op play prison escape game.
It was a 2018 game.
Oh, okay. Well, the graphics suggest otherwise. I enjoyed this game because much in the way that I played Edith Finch alongside Bailey. Oh, Animal Crossing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Those were a means of spending time with my girlfriend. And similar to how a bad movie can rank very highly for you personally.
Yeah.
I love The Phantom Menace.
Oh.
Only because of Red Letter Media. They make it so much more enjoyable. A Way Out is a fairly basic prison escape game that I only took to because my girlfriend and I dedicated a few hours to it. We were celebrating its creativity. We weren't role-playing. Well, we were role-playing, but not as the characters we were given.
Okay.
I found this game to be everything I could have hoped for in the co-op sense. And that's why it ascended to number 4.
It does that one thing really well.
I have played every other game on my list so far for longer than A Way Out.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't even beaten A Way Out.
Oh, okay. You didn't finish it.
No, because I brought it to Bailey's attention, but like with the holidays and stuff, and her working, I didn't want to be like,
it got put on pause.
Yeah, I want her to be in the right headspace.
Yeah,
that's how much this game means to me. No, A Way Out was so much fun.
Here's just a fun hypothetical situation question for you. Do you think the experience would suffer, or how would it be different if I was your partner playing this game instead of Bailey?
It would suffer, yeah.
Okay, because I'm less fun.
Right. No, no, it would be, we're so game savvy that we could probably predict what's going to happen gameplay-wise at every turn.
Okay.
We would crush stealth sequences. We would divide and conquer. We would beat that game in under 4 hours.
I see.
No, we're too seasoned for this.
Okay. So this is
like two chefs going to a burger joint. We've tasted the sweetest and the savoriest. And even though this mom and pop has really nice quarter pounders, we're too spoiled.
I see.
And we would napkin, check please.
Been there, done that.
Rather than you and your girlfriend are on a road trip and you happen upon this mom and pop and you're starving and it's like, yes, you bite into it and you savor every bite. That's a way out.
That analogy works.
Yeah. I got more excited the more I said it. A Way Out is number 4, and it deservedly so.
It sounds like it definitely gave you a one-of-a-kind experience co-oping with your girlfriend that no other game was really designed to do.
Right, because I've tried to do Oberdin with her.
Yeah.
I've tried to, and I did Edith Finch with her, and Animal Crossing.
And Gone Home.
And Got Home.
But A Way Out was the biggest success.
It had the training wheels for her, and the wackiness for me.
All right, then we'll move on to my number 3 here.
Number 3.
A game that famously did not crack Heath's list last year. Disco Elysium.
I put that as number 2, I thought.
Okay.
No.
Well, you were awfully close.
No, that was
Yeah, this game is pretty great. Arthur Morgan may have been my favorite solitary video game protagonist. Disco Elysium has my favorite duo in video games. That being you, your player character, and Kim Kitsurugi. Those two have a dynamic that just never gets old. This is, of course, the fictional universe detective game where you, as much as you are trying to solve the crime as a detective, you are also equally invested in trying to piece together your life after you have complete amnesia, after you have alcohol-induced amnesia.
a raucous night of boozing, yeah.
And you try to find out what kind of a broken character you're really playing as, and it really goes places. It has so much lore to this world that is unique and really sells itself. Much like I appreciate the world building in Dishonored, I equally appreciate the world building that went into Disco Elysium. While Thronebreaker I thought it was, wow, this is really well written. Disco Elysium is the best written prose of a game I've played. And I don't mean this as like a snide comment. It feels like you're reading a good book when you're playing this game. At least I felt that way. The way the progression in this game is unlike any other I've found, where you're not making yourself unlocking new combat abilities. No, you're just basically making certain aspects of your personality more pronounced, be it your encyclopedic knowledge of the world around you or your savoir-faire, like how cool you are in social situations.
You're upgrading your sympathy, reaction speed, logic.
Yes, it is. There's like
Your
24
copiness.
Copiness?
Esprit de corps.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what you meant. Like, how much of a cop are you?
Yeah.
And there's 24 of these very distinct aspects of your personality. The ones you've upgraded will weigh in on your conversations with sometimes hilarious, sometimes useful remarks. I broke down one amazing interaction I had where like 7 of them jumped in on one, wanted to weigh in on one certain occurrence at the same time. And it was like you have this robust cast of characters, but they all live in your head. It was wild. Oh, this game, the way it encourages you to role play your character, I thought was pretty commendable. How close it pays attention to decisions you make, even innocuous dialogue choices you decide to say, and then reflects it back to you, maybe like right away, maybe later on. The game kind of winks and nods at you, saying, hey, we're paying attention to the character you're playing as, and there are consequences down the line, maybe not game-altering consequences, but we are paying attention enough to show you that we know the kind of character you're making, and we're going to reflect that back at you. I haven't seen other games do it quite to this extent. It was phenomenal. Like Red Dead Redemption, it took me on a journey that I will not soon forget. It was great.
Well, I'm hoping I forget most of it so that I can play it again in March.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you probably won't forget like who the culprit was of the murder, but This is a game where I think it's apt to say it's the journey.
I can't remember who the culprit of the murder was.
For real? Wow. Okay. At the same time, figuring out the culprit isn't exactly.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's the journey, not the destination, is what I'm trying to say. And unlike Obra Dinn, it's not really a detective game. You're not like deducing logical things in your head.
You're not collecting evidence.
Not
inventory filling evidence. Yeah.
Right. You're not connecting the dots yourself. But that's not points against the game. That's just not really what it's trying to accomplish. It is giving you this character study.
Yeah, you're too busy getting to know everybody.
Yes. I recommend it wholeheartedly. It's fantastic.
I recommend it mostly.
Right. We'll see how you feel once they have full voice acting.
Your character's not going to have voice acting, right?
I don't know. I kind of would assume he would.
That was your number 3.
It was.
My number 3 is Death Stranding.
Ooh, I knew it was going to be there somewhere.
So it would have been number 1.
Oh.
It so would have been number 1.
Except for?
People have criticized it for the gameplay. I so enjoy it. I find it very relaxing to see how much I can carry across this landscape, be it under the time limit, because they do it pretty creatively, right? So there's like super fragile cargo that you can only carry by hand, and super finicky cargo that must remain horizontal, never vertical. And then I once delivered snow from the mountaintop that would melt if I were in the sun, but as long as I was in the shade, I was golden.
Yeah.
It was constantly taking damage if I was in a warmer climate. So creative. Such great execution of the life of a delivery person. And it would have been number 1 if only there weren't hours upon hours of cutscene jargon and just pitiful storytelling.
Ham-fisted.
I wish I could recommend this to everyone. This game is awesome.
It's funny. You said lots of people criticize its gameplay, but it's the story you have issues with.
Death Stranding being at my number 3 spot just goes to show how good it is, but also how bad it is.
Right. It's the game that should have been number 1, but some significant things holding it back dropped it down to 3.
Yeah, and I mean, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah.
Its story is not as bad as Death Stranding. It's just its gameplay is way worse than Death Stranding.
I see.
Sorry, I'm beating this horse so bad.
Sure.
So what's your number 2?
I'm looking over what I envisioned your list looking like, Heath. And I'm kind of at a loss of what's coming up.
I threw that list in the blender.
Yeah, you did. I only know what like maybe one of your other games is that's coming up. All right, my number 2, Heath. I'm sorry to say it's not my number 1. It is Outer Wilds. Where did you put it?
I put it number 6.
Oh, okay. So Outer Wilds is the space exploration puzzle-solving game by Mobius Digital.
Who we are honored to share their namesake.
Yeah, at least 50% of it. If there was one game, not just on this list, Heath, but out of every video game I've ever played, that I would like an opportunity to like sit down with everyone on Earth just to give them a taste of what this game has in store, it would be Outer Wilds. I think this game is so capable of being universally appreciated, what it's managing to accomplish, that everyone on Earth could take away something from this game. It is that mind-blowing. This is, of course, Heath's favorite game from last year. You basically explore a miniaturized solar system. I mean that quite literally. You have a spacecraft, and it is totally up to you where you go, which planets you visit, where on them you land. And no, there's not just like small carved out areas for you to explore. You can land anywhere on the surface area.
It's the least linear game.
It is the least
recent memory.
linear game. Talk about, I love Dishonored's level design. Holy cow, this is solar system design that is immaculate. How do you even begin to put this together conceptually, let alone program it into software? The way this solar system works, the relationships between the planets, the shortcuts that exist, creative doesn't do it justice.
I'm pretty sure the planets will spin out of control after a few hours.
It is a highly systemic game, meaning everything from the gravity to inertia is all simulated in engine, meaning you're right, Heath. This game's on a time loop. If you will, however, allowed it to continuously cycle through this solar system simulation, the planets would eventually like fly apart because the planets are not on rails orbiting the sun. They are like orbiting the sun because of real in-game gravity, which is a baffling... Talk about, all right, making a game is hard enough. To make the solar system actually function because of your simulated physics, talk about a design constraint to work around. That had to be monumentally difficult. Just like the mathematics involved with that. But that's just those are the things that are worth praising about how they made the game. Let's talk about the high concept of this game as being the best puzzle game I've ever played. So often in the critically acclaimed puzzle games that exist, be it Portal and Portal 2 or something newer like Baba Is You. Video game puzzles are kind of this discrete level-based approach to here's the current puzzle, solve it, and then we'll give you another one, and then another one. And you work your way through however dozen many puzzles they made in the game, and then you put it down. Outer Wilds, I think it's fair to say, has one puzzle in it. And you need a journey across the entire solar system to figure it out, because everything you learn about this game is interconnected in a way that discrete puzzle design just could never hope to accomplish. The fact that while you're exploring a cavern on one planet, you will find information that gives you revelations about how something else works on the other side of the solar system is an amazing feeling.
That thing encased in ice on the edge of the galaxy is a hint for that thing toward the center of the solar system.
Thousands of kilometers away. It's maybe like the game that's design I respect maybe more than any other.
I'd love to give it Game of the Year every year.
It has a touching ending to it that is a satisfying closure.
Like, that's what sets it apart from games like Superliminal. What's Superliminal? It's that non-Euclidean game where you're playing with 3D space and you're playing with time, and yeah, there's all of these video gamey puzzles that are similar-ish to Outer Wilds, but Outer Wilds is held together by this theme of surviving the inevitable and discovering the limits of the universe and literally holding the fate in your hands.
Yeah.
You're sweating bullets like you would never in Superliminal. Not to shit on that game. I hate Superliminal. Sorry. No, that's a fun game that I wanted Bailey to touch. But yeah, the themes of Outer Wilds, maybe not the story, maybe not the characters, but the themes are worth acknowledging, as you've begun to do before I hijacked it.
Sure. And the final points of note are this purely information-based approach to solving the game. Like, there are no upgrades. There's no progression to speak of.
The only upgrade is knowledge.
That's genius. Only really, I was going to say Obra Dinn is one of a kind, but I feel like these two games are of a similar ilk, which is kind of surprising considering how close together they released. Wrapping up Outer Wilds, it presents such a tantalizing mystery because in other puzzle games, you begin the puzzle knowing what you're working towards. Okay, in Portal, I need to escape this test chamber. In Baba Is You, I need to reach a flag. But when you begin playing Outer Wilds, you don't even know what the mystery is. Part of solving the mystery is figuring out what you're trying to solve. And that, you get so many seemingly disparate pieces of evidence until when you begin to finally like fill out your ship's log with evidence, and you reach a tipping point where the mystery kind of coalesces in your mind, like your mental model of what is going on. And that moment was jaw-dropping
What's
for
this
me.
probe got to do with this weird comet?
Yeah. Figuring out the spider web of how everything is related was a magical experience. This game should probably be my number one game of the year. For personal reasons, I've picked a different game, but it is sublime. I love Outer Wilds so much.
That is the most I could have hoped for. I know at the end of 2019, I was thinking of this moment.
Well, you had excellent taste making it your number one game last year.
Yeah, you wanna name drop my number 2 again?
Oh, okay.
You did it like 4 times.
My bad.
Baba Is You is a game that made me feel really smart, which is all why I play the games in the first place. Baba Is You is, as Chris was saying, it's a puzzle game. The instructions are laid before you right there on the level, and you need only push things around to see what sort of outcomes you can have. I remember beating a level by turning myself into a key. Not even putting the key in the keyhole.
Oh.
Just turning myself into the key.
Huh.
That is a very Baba Is You-ian solution.
I didn't mean to throw any disrespect at Baba Is You.
No, you did. I don't think you did.
Okay.
I have yet to earn any more stars than when I last played.
Which was months ago.
Months ago, and I imagine if I were to log in right now, I would not be able to earn any more stars unless I were to have played through the game in its entirety to relearn the good habits and tips and tricks that I learned along the way. My favorite level, I'll say this, I think it's called like No Way Out.
Okay.
It's just wall is stopped. There's you and Kiki, and there was a substantial amount of clipping involved.
Oh.
But clipping in the 2D fun sense.
Okay.
Baba Is You, solid game. The reason it's so high is because it goes above its simple conceit. There were definitely solutions that I wasn't ready for, and things that I got spoiled on that I wish I didn't.
Oh.
And so I kind of revere it that way. There's nothing in Baba Is You that I'm like, that wasn't fair, or that could have been introduced better. I think it's way good.
Yeah.
Any levels that I have yet to complete, I gotta try harder.
It seems like it kind of conditions you to think of levels in a different way that other puzzle games just don't.
Textually.
Textually. Very
But
almost
you actually
like
mean
programmatically is kind of what I was
reverse
getting at.
engineering?
Yeah. It seems like a very smart game.
Oh, I thank you. That's
For-
why it's number 2.
Only for the most intellectual of intellectuals.
Haha, yes.
All right. Number 1. Probably not too much surprise here. It's Hades.
Yay!
Which is pretty much a critical darling of 2020. I'm sure many listeners have played it. Yeah, it's my most played game this year. Have you seen how many hours I put in since you last checked?
Let's guess, everybody. It's gonna be 130.
114.
That was way close.
I have seen the epilogue. I have earned every achievement.
Oh, how many? Oh.
I have put Hades through its paces, and it's fantastic. It is the most a roguelite has ever resonated with me, both in the narrative department and the gameplay.
Any prerequisites before playing it?
That people should play beforehand?
Or read?
Or read?
Yeah.
Read what?
Greek text?
No. Hades is, you can appreciate it on all sorts of different gameplay levels. You can just see through to the credits, and it has a very approachable setting in it called God mode. So if you aren't this Twitch-based gamer,
accessible.
Yeah, very accessible. You can flip on God mode and still see this very finely crafted story, even though you maybe don't want to be hammering dodge on your controller every half a second. The risk versus reward element to each run never gets old. It gives each run its own identity and its own kind of like gameplay arc to it. what I mean by that is you eventually get enough gameplay knowledge that you know certain boons are better than others, and certain boons are going to be more viable depending on which weapon you're using. And of course, you always want the superior versions of each boon based on its rarity of dropping. So you're always tasked with this question of, hey, I got this ideal Zeus boon I need for this build I'm working towards, but it's only common, so it's not going to be that great. Do I reject it now, wait for a rare or epic version of it later, or do I cut my losses and go for it now? And the action is thrilling, but the metagame around the action is what sold me on it. The assembling your build each run.
Moonlighter. The metagame of the inventory.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Similar analogy there. The metagame is so solid. The characters are so well written. Zagreus, the guy you play as, he initially seems as like rebellious teenager.
Angsty, yeah.
But then you realize he's only that way around his father and around all the other Olympians he's meeting. He's like surprisingly cordial and like deferential to them.
Empathetic.
He becomes like, he's really likable, and not in like a bootlicking way, but like in a genuine way. He's just a very likable character, which is good because I spent over 100 hours inhabiting his booths.
A walk in his sandals.
A walk in his sandals.
Because they're Greek.
Hades was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my favorite game I played in 2020.
Shocker.
And Heath, before you unveil yours, I have actually no idea what it is. I don't have any clue.
Nah, you might have forgotten about this. My number one game I played in 2020 was Piku Niku.
Holy cow. You barely talked about this game.
The reason it's so high is because there's nothing about it that rubbed me the wrong way. Piku Niku was smooth sailing. This is the game where you inhabit Piku, the red two-legged and nothing else character who walks into town and is immediately greeted as the beast of legend. And then you find out that Mr. Sunshine has been swindling the local populace, so you go into the desert territory and you meet new friends there, and then you work your way into the resistance and eventually launch an attack on Mr. Sunshine. And this game, I think I enjoyed it so much, partly because of its innocuous nature, but also there were moments that it blew me away.
It blew you away.
The Toast side quest, the Dance Dance Revolution minigame once you get into the robot club and you have to beat the Sunshine bot who is the self-proclaimed king of dance. Only then can you get the sensor that lets you fight the boss in the forest realm. It was delightful. They made the gameplay super fun, super tactile. It's a puzzle platformer, which you not too long ago claimed was not your cup of tea.
Not really.
Neither is it mine, but I was just delighted by this game and how much full of life it is, complete with the DJ who likes this super heavy dubstep kind of music, to the merchant who was selling beast merchandise until you saved the town and now you put him out of business.
Oh.
Like it's so full of genuine heart.
Okay.
That I recommend it to everyone.
Wow. This is catching me way off guard.
It was great.
Piku Niku. Do I need to seek this out?
No, it wouldn't be. No rush.
Okay. You just recommended it to everyone.
Yeah. I thought it was super charming.
All right. How long was that game?
It was like 8 hours, maybe.
Okay. What a surprising final pick.
Oh, the main story is only 3 hours. All right.
Were there any on your little prediction list, Heath? What games did not end up making my list?
Greece.
Oh, okay. No Greece. That's right.
Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle Donkey Kong Adventure.
Okay. I disqualified it on account of it only being DLC.
A Plague Tale Innocence.
Yeah, didn't make the cut.
Mario Kart Deluxe.
Yeah, that was a reoccurring game.
Yeah.
I was certain we were going to see Wilmot's Warehouse on here.
Well, okay. The reason you didn't, despite it being equally charming and thoughtful, is it really is just not really a game. It's more like a productivity simulator.
You invalidated it because of its concept?
Like Wilmot's Warehouse, it means a lot to me,
Yeah, and it's your list.
but I don't think it beats out any of the other games in my top 10.
Okay, that's fair. Stiff competition.
Yeah.
The other one I was expecting to see somewhere was Rocket League.
That was in the mire.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's another year in the history books.
Well, I already asked Podcast God this, but what game are you most looking forward to in 2021?
Oh,
So I can bet on it in the Fantasy Critic.
okay. So
No, that's not true.
game that I'm looking for. You want the release of 2021 I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. It's Deathloop.
I workshopped, I was going to say besides Deathloop.
Okay.
Mine is Disco Elysium Final Cut.
My other anticipated one is probably Cyberpunk 2077.
Oof. Yeah. I had a real hard time with my list this year.
I did as well. The bottom 4, meaning like 10 through 7, were in limbo right up until this recording.
Oh, the top 5 for me changed wildly.
Oh. What
Yeah.
changed them?
Well, I was trying to think of like how much do I really value BioShock? Death Stranding left the number 2 spot and the number 1 spot
Oh,
with such rapid indecision.
I see.
Baba Is You was going to be number 1 at one point, but then I was like, wait, I much more enjoy Piku Nugu.
Huh. Numbers 1 through 6 for me were locked in stone like months ago. Haven't shifted even a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was Mobius Tubes 2020. Feel free to write us emails. We didn't have any this episode. You can send them to mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
That's mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what was your favorite moment this year. Tell us how I can improve. And we'll see you in 2021.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right, bye.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Heath.
Thank you, Podcast God.